The month of May can be a bit of a blur.
The month of May, it's this crazy roller coaster, just up and down.
Month of May is really intense.
There's no doubt I get excited for the month of May. There's no doubt every time I drive through the gates to the Speedway, there's a certain chill that goes down your spine.
It's definitely a very tough mental exercise and requires a lot of you as a driver.
You have to watch yourself, you have to pace yourself.
At first you're trying to establish where you stack up. And that means how to attack every single session, what to have in mind to make sure the car is right.
Getting ready, getting that build up, it gets more and more intense.
You don't know if you're gonna be in the show or not.
It's unlike anything else I've ever done.
Together with Christmas, the best month of the year.
When you hear those brave and skillful drivers of the NTT IndyCar Series talking words like that, it can only be the month of May, and this officially kicks it off in competition style. It is the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. It's round 5 of the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series. And here is the schedule for you. So we go racing today, despite there being some inclement weather that has moved through. We go racing today, and then we turn our attention to the big track and the lead up to the 106th Indianapolis 500. Things get going with practice on Tuesday in the lead up to qualifying next weekend. And 2 weeks from tomorrow is the big one, the Indy 500. And to be brutally honest, we cannot wait. Hi folks, we are here, we're back at the Brickyard, locked and loaded, ready to go for the big one. And this is it's a process, but it's a fun process. It's busy, it's demanding on everybody involved, but it is certainly well worth it. Hi folks, Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, two gentlemen who know this speedway very, very well. But for this month of May, T. Bell, what makes it so special for you? Why is it such a big deal?
It's pressure. It is expectation. It is make or break. Make or break your month, make or break your season, make or break your career. And I think it's fitting that we've got weather moving in and the pressure cooker is already starting to kick off the race today.
Hinch, you did both the road course and, of course, the Indy 500. How about for you? Why does it get you revved up?
Well, for us, it's the start of the month of May. It's what it's all about. I mean, our eyes are kind of already on the 500. We're here for the Grand Prix, but you're kidding yourself if you don't think that what happens here today in the Grand Prix doesn't set the tone for the rest of your month. So this race is just as important as all the other things that are falling into place leading up to Memorial Day weekend.
So when we were here at this time last year, there was not going to be a full house. We were still on a restricted crowd, but we were getting back to normal somewhat. But we were just as excited. However, the ending of last year's Indianapolis 500, we could not have imagined.
It is so great to be back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the sounds of the fans to go with the sounds of the engines.
This is the Indianapolis 500.
Colton Herta, he moves inside of Scott Dixon.
Side by side, Regis VK goes to the lead.
The crowd comes to their feet. Connor Daly has taken the lead.
Here comes Helio Castroneves into fourth. He's looking for third.
Side by side, they go into turn number 3.
Listen to the crowd roar as Helio Castroneves chases his 4th win.
Get ready for me.
Yeah, wheel fell off.
They're cheering loudly. Alex Palou to the inside of Helio Castroneves.
5 to go. You know what to do here.
Helio to the high side in turn number 1.
Welcome to the 4-time club, Helio Castroneves.
Last time to fans, everyone. Come on, everyone. Woo!
I love Indianapolis.
You know what's fun is watching Helio Castroneves watch that, relive the 4th Indy 500 for you, going for a 5th this year. We just watched the club a moment ago. You able to talk with the other drivers who have won this race 4 times. Do you allow yourself, Helio, to watch the highlights from 2021?
No question about it. It's great. When you start looking and watching, and it's absolutely incredible. However, you can't focus. We have a race to go, right? So sometimes it's like, right, this is a pass. We got to focus on the present, and which is going to lead us to the future.
You're obviously going to be the talk for the month of May. Can you win a 5th? It's going to be a topic on everyone's mind. There's a lot of obligations with that, though. You got your baby Borg last night, your smaller version of the Borg Warner Trophy. Are all the things that go along with being an Indy 500 champion a distraction from focusing on the race this year?
Well, it depends how you take it. I mean, I actually enjoy every single second of it. So it's not about just if you keep focusing those scenarios and not obviously working hard and make sure that you develop the car so that you go back here for 2 weeks. you mistaken. You have to enjoy the moment. You allow yourself to enjoy the moments, like watching right now.
Today Show.
The Today Show was great.
Yeah.
You take advantage. My birthday as well. So it's all you have to allow yourself to do that, because you never know if this moment's going to come back. The club was absolutely incredible. What a great! I'm sure people watch it. Just watch it. I was trying not to watch it today because you know, like I said, I gotta focus something else. But I got misty eyes on last time when we did the premiere, and receiving the Baby Borg trophy was spectacular. Now it's right there with me in my motorhome. I'll take a picture later on my Instagram and Twitter, so I'm sleeping right beside that, between me and my wife. I don't know if she's gonna like that or not, but just for
in
one
the
night.
middle, right?
Just for one night.
Yeah, exactly. So to sit at a table with the other 4-time winners of this race, what did you feel in that moment when you're talking to them and getting their reaction to what you've done, and the possibility that you could now break their record?
Marty, that was awesome. I mean, just to try to describe those amazing moments, it was absolutely incredible. I felt hearing them, I was like, I don't belong here. You know, these guys are the gods. And but in the end of the day, as they mentioned, even AJ was talking about the records are made to be broken. And yeah, we got to continue working hard. And for sure, starting today, a big process, as you heard James talking about, does help to set the tone for the rest of the month. And we're looking for a great day.
Cars coming out there. Will Power, who will be on the pole today, is coming out right now. So it's raining. Obviously, it has rained. Yes. Wet racetrack, which you told me you're so excited about. Why are you excited that it rained?
Well, you know, this place, it's very difficult to pass. Not only difficult to pass, but everybody runs very close lap times. And when you throw in a different element, which is obviously the rain, or not, right now it's not even raining. I'm sure it's going to be dry probably about 20 laps into the race. It's just a different element. And drivers, when they have that sort of opportunity to start, you know, surging, and you're like, wow, never expect that. My last time racing, it was an IMSA prototype in 2020. It was pouring down Road America, and then we ended up winning the race. I think someone in the booth, 1000 was there too, and he won, and he crashed on the celebration lap, by the way. So I just want to point that out.
We'll have to give T-Bell grief later.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Are you good in the rain? This place is your playground, but a different place, obviously.
Right.
One on the road course, but two in the rain as well.
Look, obviously every driver here is an amazing talent. Everyone is going to find out different ways to feel comfortable out there. As I mentioned before, it's not raining right now. It might be drying out, and that's who's gonna be the bravest one to put dry tires and not making mistakes. It's going to be a very challenging race, and I tell you what, folks that are watching right now, you should stay, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
As you start to focus on the job that is next week, practice begins Tuesday. At the open test, you had an accident, made contact with the wall. I know we don't want to bring that up, but the effort to win the fifth kind of started a little rough in the open test. Kind of walk us through what happened there.
There was a blip on the radar. They put a sealer on the warm-up lane, and that's what happened. I wasn't even trying, and look, we were just coming out of the pits. I was about to just put third gear. And that, by the way, is the car that we drove last year, literally on the victory circle. And I felt terrible, obviously, because the guys put so much work into it. But the best thing is they went right away. We decided not to continue trying to just fix it up quick. We want to fix it the right time. And if I show pictures the way they did it, you guys are going to be surprised how amazing it came out. So it's probably even better than what it was, and that's why I'm happy about it.
At the end of the day, you have to have a fast race car, no doubt about it. But a lot of people will say that you won this race last year on experience, knowledge of what you needed in those last 5-10 laps. Do you agree with that, Elio?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, and experience helps. Fast car helps, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do what I did. I use enough tools that I need to make it to apply during the race, and I had a great pit stop. So it was a combination of a lot of things, and for sure, what are they saying? They're not wrong.
That is the young man going for his fifth Indy 500 diff. We'll be talking to him a lot over the next few weeks, I have a feeling, but he's going to try and win his fifth Indianapolis 500. But in the meantime, it's time to go racing here at the road course. Cars coming out.
Yep, and there is also a pretty healthy $400,000 bonus on the line for Elio if he can win back-to-back Indy 500s. But we're talking about the GMR Grand Prix when we come back.
Romain Grosjean, one tough XF1 driver making his mark in IndyCar today.
Oh, look out.
You are the only one passing out there. Keep digging. You're doing great.
Look at that.
Well done, Romain Grosjean.
Ah, yeah, that's great. Let's go.
Whoa. Here he goes.
Oh. Damn, I just got drilled by Grosjean.
He says, there's nobody I can't pass.
He has become a fan favorite.
And he's loving the camaraderie here in IndyCar.
Whenever you do something new, there's the risk that things may not work, and then, you know, reputation can go down.
We're learning his reputation quickly here.
What the f***? It's Grosjean.
Here goes Newgarden.
The f*** was that? That's not racing, that's bumping.
That's a bit naughty. See if he gets the damn room.
Grosjean on the inside of Rahal.
What the f*** is that?
Grosjean hits him twice.
He hit me on purpose. This guy.
So as you can see, Romain Grosjean has made his mark here in the NTT IndyCar Series, and while the fans love him, some of the drivers don't feel quite as rosy about the Frenchman with his aggressive driving style, and we saw that come to the fore just a couple of weeks ago at Barber Motorsports Park, the confrontation between Grosjean and Graham Rahal. We didn't see it on our air, but after we went off the air, the two drivers had words, and that man right there, Graham Rahal, one of the veterans of the sport, was not too pleased at all, and he made that point very clear to Romain Grosjean. I spoke to Grosjean last week, and he said, I went over, I put my hand out, I tried to apologise and just chat with Graham. He said it ended up in a 10-minute one-way lecture from Graham to Grosjean, so they couldn't even agree to disagree. So what do you two make of it? The conduct, the adventurous passes are great for television and the spectacle, and it looks dynamic, etc. But then, has he crossed a line?
Well, for me, I love it. I mean, it is exciting. It is raw. It is authentic. It is real emotion. And I think it's been a while since we've had a protagonist like Romain Grosjean come into the sport and say, you know what? I'm a hard racer. I'm unapologetic for it. That's just me. Get used to it. That's how I'm going to race you all the time. I think what I'm curious to see is how does the rest of the field respond? I don't think you're changing Romain Grosjean. He's been doing this a long time. He's having a lot of success right now. The fans love it. The question, James, is how do the other drivers react?
Well, that's just it, Townsend. It's only his second year in IndyCar, but far from his second year in the sport. He's already had a long career. He's already established himself. You know, Graham makes reference to we're learning what his reputation is over here, saying that he may have had one over in Formula One. So I agree with you. I don't think it's going to change. I think the fact that he tried to talk to Graham is a good thing, but he also he wasn't going to apologize, right? He was going to talk it out. I think if he was going up to Graham and saying, yeah, you're right, maybe I should have given you more room, and that one's on me, Graham might have a different approach. That's not what Grosjean's doing. Grosjean's saying, no, I'm here, this is how I'm going to race, get used to it.
He was the highest qualifying of the Andretti Autosport cars. You can see him there with one of his 3 children. There's wife Marion in the background, the other 2 kids. So big adventure this year, moving to America full-time, living in the Miami area, and they have put down their roots here in the United States. So this has been a holistic change from season 1 as a rookie, bouncing between here and Europe and dealing with all of the COVID restrictions and travel protocols, to being here in the United States full-time and being full-on in the IndyCar Series. So this place is special to him too. He's got good results here, so we'll see what he can do today.
Yeah, the fans went crazy for his performance last year. Really spectacular stuff, and they are out in force. I got to say, it is so nice, despite the weather, to see a lot of fans out here for the Indy GP as Grosjean is down on pit lane with Marty Snyder. Marty, what can you tell us more about the most talked about driver in IndyCar right now?
Well, let's chat with him because we spent a long time chatting about this morning. So what's sort of your reaction to how Graham Rahal handled it post-race at Barber, and does it change the way you race at all, Romain?
No, not really. I race the way I like to race, and that's why I came in IndyCar, because I thought the racing was good and I enjoyed it a lot. So, you know, I think I understand the heat of the moment. You could say things that maybe a little bit over the top, but I don't really care. I think I'm here to race. All the guys, you know, have my number, can contact me, can see me. I'm my boss if they're not happy, but I think we've got good racing, and I love it.
You told me this morning, you said, I thought this was the kind of series where we could race like that and then have a beer afterwards. Are you surprised that it kind of has carried on this long?
The beer never happened, right? So maybe tomorrow or today or later or tomorrow, we'll see.
How did your conversation with him post-race go? Because you did reach out and make an effort.
Yeah, I went to see, and I apologize for the second contact. As I told you, I lost the rear end. By the time I come to steer, my car hit his, and it was not on purpose. Sadly, my onboard didn't work at that time, but if you see the onboard, it's very clear. So, you know, it wouldn't let me apologize. It's behind us right now. We've got a good race coming up. The weather is here for us, making it difficult. I've never run the IndyCar on the wet, so excited to see what it's going to be like.
He's finished second twice here, and if there's someone who loves the wet, no doubt it's going to be Grosjean, Kevin.
Well, Graham Rahal certainly helped stir it up and make things really interesting a couple of weeks ago. So now you've had a chance to think about it. You've talked about it. You've heard other opinions. Where do things stand with you and Romain? And just kind of the reaction to your comments.
You know, I haven't had any further thoughts or considerations about it. You move forward. We're here. We're excited. You know, you stand by your comments. I made them. I stand by them. You know, but we're here for a new day in Indy. Obviously, Mother Nature's playing some tricks on us today. But we're, you know, it's a good opportunity ahead to gain some points, hopefully, and have a really solid day.
Not a coincidence, or maybe it is, but it usually seems to work out that way. You guys will be starting right there next to each other, nose to tail.
Hey, Kev, you're the one who said the media stirs the pot. You don't have to do it all the time, too. But yeah, I mean, we're all right together, and obviously there's a lot of good fast cars right in our zone as well. So yeah, Colton and Alex and Taku's right here, and so it's going to be an interesting start. We got, you know, Scotty's right next to us, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. The sealer looks like it's retaining a lot of water, which would be very interesting for us. You know, but it's a level playing field. We're going to hope we made the right decisions on the setup and go from there.
Have a good day. Hey, Diff, it is still sprinkling. I think this is going to be awesome today. We're going to have a drying track, but it's not going to dry that quickly because it's still raining.
As you well know, Kevin, that run down to turn 1 here is legendary on the road course. It is such a hot spot. There's been so many incidents over the years, and more than likely there'll be more today.
Will Power has won the Grand Prix of Indianapolis.
The winner, Simon Pagenaud, here in 2016. I just don't know what to say, guys.
For the second time, Will Power will go to victory lane here at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis.
Will Power takes the checkered flag at Indianapolis for a third time.
Great job, guys.
Dixon swings a little wide. Pagenaud takes over the lead.
And Simon Pagenaud wins in the most phenomenal style.
Way to go, superstar.
How could we forget that 2019 race for Simon Pagenaud? It was the beginning of magical things to come. And Will Power, too, really is the king of this road course event. And he continued his winning ways by winning the NTT P1 award. There is Will in the Verizon 5G Chevrolet, and yesterday notched up his 64th career win. Just 3 away, Dylan Welsh, from tying the legend Mario Andretti for all-time poles. Pretty special day yesterday.
Absolutely, and Will was excited about it on the radio, but a bigger mission at hand today. And you guys have obviously been really strong all weekend, but what kind of variable does this weather throw into your strategy and what you guys had planned today?
I mean, if it dries, if it dries within 20 laps, it doesn't really change the strategy. It's a 3-stopper. Everyone goes red to the end, but yeah, it's going to be unpredictable, and we're just going to have to be really on our toes with all the calls.
You have obviously run so well here in the past, and even the races you haven't won, you've run well. What works about this place for you? What do you like about it? What do you feel like syncs with everything that you do behind the wheel?
I enjoy this track. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite road courses, and you know, the rest is just hard work.
All right.
It's just, yeah, learning.
All right, that's Will Power, and again, he's going to lead us to the green. His 6th pole here, looking for win number 6 as well.
And just reiterating the point that this race has been declared wet, a wet start. So with that being said, tell us what they're going to experience out there.
Well, when the drivers showed up yesterday, it was perfectly dry. They were on Firestone slick tires, but the track was green. Track's no longer green, and things change with the tires. Let me give you this demonstration here. Take a granola bar. This is what the track looked like Friday morning, James.
Where is this going? Where is this going?
The track looks delicious.
And then the Firestone rubber gets laid down with the slicks, and then the track looks like this. It's all rubbered in, which is great if you've got a slick tire on this surface. Lots of grip. But then you add some water. Grab your bottle. Let's throw a little water on here.
So
just pour it on there.
now?
This
just
is
pour it on.
this
Come
is
on, get it in
unrehearsed,
there.
by the way.
Get it in there. Now this is just slippery. I mean, Diff, feel that. No grip, right? So that's why you've got to go back to the Firestone rain tire. So track started like this. It got rubbered in like this. You add water. and it's a recipe for disaster on a slick tire. That's why you got to run the reins, and that, my friends, is a Tommy Boy explanation for what's going on.
Keep it when you get hungry a little bit later. So there you go. Keep an eye out for that. This is going to be a spectacular start because that little bit of moisture is going to really spice it up. You know, there are those sporting destinations and those sporting arenas that just make you smile, get you excited. This is the epitome of that. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis, getting the month of May going into full swing. Let's go trackside to get things rolling.
We ask you to please rise and remove your hats as the Indiana National Guard Joint Armed Forces Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Mark Skydam of Pennington Park Church offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for the gifts of grace and mercy that you lavish on all of us consistently. Father, even the gift of this day is one small evidence of your grace to us. Father, our nation is moving towards greater disconnection and disunity, and so I pray for leaders on every level that you would grant them wisdom to help us move towards a common ground. And Father, I pray that you would give each of us grace and kindness as we engage with each other. Father, the world is being torn apart by war. I pray that you would protect the innocent, that you would defend the defenseless, and that you would bring justice where there is injustice. And now, Father, I pray for the race today. Would you protect each of these teams and drivers as they compete? Father, hold off the rain too, we pray. And I ask these things in the precious name of Jesus, my Savior. Amen.
Here today to honor America with the national anthem, please welcome Artistic Director of the Indiana Jazz Fest, Rob Dixon. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Let's hear it one more time for Rob Dixon.
It's time to go racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll do it when we come back. For former F1 driver Romain Grosjean, this is a magical moment. Now it's time to have some fun as Grosjean leads the field of green to kick off the month of May here in Indianapolis. 5 wide down at the apex. There's contact. It was Pagenaud into Daly.
Jimmy Johnson and Palou right there in front of you.
This is for position. VK looking up the middle. The young Dutchman is having a stellar day here.
That's him right there, right in front of you.
Ed Carpenter Racing leads the race. Rinus VK wins the GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis.
Yeah! Yeah! Finally, it feels so good.
What a super day that was for that talented young driver for the local Indianapolis-based team, Ed Carpenter Racing, Rinus VK. He was quick yesterday. Qualifying didn't quite go to plan, which left him a little mystified. He'll start today from 15th here at the Brickyard. With weather clearing, but track still damp, boy, this is going to be an interesting start. And how do you play it strategically? How does your car handle? Who gets onto those dry tires first? As Colton Herta straps into his Gamebridge Honda. So, we mentioned earlier in the show that the run down to turn 1 here for this GMR Grand Prix has become quite famous. Why? Because of the incidents over the years. Take a look.
Let's go back to 2015. Dixon and Castro Neves side by side in turn 1. They get stacked up though, mid-pack behind them. Dixon goes backwards on board here with Pagenaud. And this a couple of years later, James, 2018, look at Pagenaud in that bright yellow car.
Yeah, 3 wide, a little bit of oversteer through turn 2 there, knocked Elio into Pagenaud, and here we are in 2021. It's all just chaos. 3 wide does not fit into 1 lane here, Townsend.
And Diff, that's when it's dry. Yeah. It is wet in turn 1 today and very unpredictable.
In 2019, it started dry and went to a wet race. Now we're going to see the opposite. And yeah, it's a lot of these drivers don't have a lot of experience in the rain. We've never run the aero screen properly in the rain, so we still have questions about visibility and heat and things like that in these conditions. So it's going to be interesting.
Simon Pagenaud, who starts a lot further back than where he would like to, said before, hey, give me that 2019 weather all over again. I'll take that any day.
Oh, he was terrific. He looked after his wet weather tires. We'll be talking about that if and when the track does dry, how you manage the wet tire, because they can fall away from you very quickly and overheat. But Pagenaud, sensational back then in wet conditions. As you see a great shot here from the overhead. Looks like a little bit of a dry line starting to form on pit lane, but out here on the racetrack, it is still very damp.
Let's kick things off from pit road with Dylan Welsh. Take it away, Dylan.
And Diff, the month of May is as much about on-track performance a lot of times as it is about mental toughness. And that mental toughness starts here today with the Grand Prix. Will Power, who of course starts on the pole today, is in maybe the best mental state of his entire career. And the results this season have certainly reflected it. He's finished no worse than 4th. Yesterday, of course, scored his 6th pole at this racetrack. And he talked after that qualifying run yesterday about having a fire in his belly to lay down the lap he did. I think with that attitude, Will may be a good bet to win today and maybe even in that big 500-miler later on this month. Kevin Lee?
Dylan, 22-year-old Californian Colton Herta came into the season as one of the championship contenders, top 5 the last 2 years, but he's only 11th right now and really only has 1 good result, 4th at St. Petersburg, and he said even that weekend was not flawless. So right now, they just want a clean weekend. They've got the pace. He said the good thing about me, he told me a few minutes ago, is I don't get too down on myself. I don't listen to what everybody else is saying. There's still plenty of optimism. Starting further back than he wanted, does have an advantage of having plenty of those softer reds. If it does dry up, Colton Herta, like everybody else, is ready to go attack the rain today. Marty Snyder.
Kevin, how can you be the defending series champion, the current points leader, starting on the front row and still be flying below the radar? Well, that's the case for Alex Palou. So quick all weekend here at the road course and finished 2nd in the 500 last year. He loves it here in Indianapolis, but he was quick in the dry. These are rain tires on these cars, you guys have mentioned, still sprinkling out here. And Alex Hinch, you talked about it, among the many drivers here on pit road, just a quick survey, who have never been in an IndyCar in the rain. I asked him a moment ago, how's it going to be? He told me, I have no idea. I've never driven a lap in an IndyCar in the rain. The aero screen's going to be an issue. But big names like Joseph Newgarden just told me, I don't know, I've never really driven a race in the rain either. That's going to be an interesting dynamic. The normal names you see up front, Diff, they don't have a lot of rain experience. How's that going to play out?
Yeah, it's one of the interesting factors about today's 85-lap, 207-mile event. Speaking of championship points, let's take a look at them. There have been 4 races thus far this year. Now, if you were to score every point available as a driver, not counting the double points for the Indianapolis 500, but in all of the other regular rounds, you can score as many as 54. Look how tight this is. The top 8 covered by just 43. The top 4 blanketed by just 9. This is super tight. And by the way, after those 4 rounds, we've had 3 different championship leaders. Scott McLaughlin led for the opening 2 rounds. His teammate at Team Penske, Joseph Newgarden, led after round 3. And Alex Palou, who Marty was just talking about, the defending series champion, leads the way now heading into this GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. These fans have been fantastic, by the way, because there was lightning not that far away. They had to take evasive action. They had to shelter, get away from that. But now that the worst weather has cleared and enables us to have a little bit of fun like these kids and go racing. For all of these hardy Hoosiers and IndyCar fans around the world that know what the month of May means. I met a gentleman today who's been coming here every year, except 2020 of course, since 1964. So it's that kind of passion, that kind of history, those kind of stories that get everybody revved up for this month of May. So let's get it going.
And race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome the Grand Marshal, Indiana Pacers point guard Tyrese Halliburton.
Drivers, start your engines.
So, and prior to giving the command, he got to kiss the bricks with Mario, or sort of kiss the bricks, I think. Come on, get down there. That was worse than touching that granola bar you made me do, Townsend.
Rain tires on the two-seater for Mario Andretti, and talk about being the guinea pig. I mean, this is really the first lap in a long time in the wet around this racetrack, and it's fitting that the master demonstrates for everybody. If I'm a driver right now, I want to monitor. I want to see exactly how Mario handles this.
Yeah, we've talked about the other drivers, but when was the last time Mario Andretti drove an open wheel car in the rain?
That's right.
It's probably been a minute. But you can see the track is, we call it weeping, and the seams in the racetrack, little bits of moisture can come up. Those are always the last parts to dry, so the track is starting to get a bit of a dry line, but those seams breaking into turn one could be an issue later.
And those seams can cause issues when they do go to dry tires, which shouldn't take long. And James, you're looking at what I'm looking at, which is that the dry line is going to be here very quickly. Now, it's been declared a wet race. Every driver has to do one full lap on the wet tires before they can change. I'll bet it's going to be within 10 laps that guys start to come in. But those little spots of water, when you see the spray coming off of Mario Andretti, that's what you can catch you out if you go to slicks too early.
I mean, if Marco Andretti was racing today, he'd already be on slicks, Townsend. He'd be the first guy in the pit lane, and he would not be afraid to give it a try. But you can still see there are some puddles, there are some places where it's properly saturated through this section here. You use those curves. The curves have dips and divots in them, so that's going to collect some water. Still quite wet down the back straight, but yeah, that first half of the racetrack is very dry, so taking care of these Firestone rain tires is going to be so important.
So let's walk you through and show you who is starting where on the GMR starting grid. We detailed about it, was another one getting closer to that career mark, that career high mark for Will Power alongside the champ. How about this for local lad? Connor Daly starts from the second row alongside Joseph Newgarden.
Terrific result for Daly. I like row 4. These two cats, the young rookies, both European drivers, Eilot and Lundgaard. Eilot's best start in his young IndyCar career. They've been fast. They have good race pace. They're going to be fun to watch at the start.
Jack Harvey having a great qualifying session. Not had the pace he's wanted this year. Really needs to have a good weekend, not only to get his season started, but especially to get his month of May off to a right foot. Next to, of course, Romain Grosjean, the star of last race's drama.
By the way, on that third row, really consistent and good team effort from the Arrow McLaren SP drivers.
And a lot of muscle further back. Look at Rossi and VK. VK won this race last year. They're on row 8. And then all the way back in row 10, four-time Indy 500 winner Castroneves, his teammate and Indy 500 winner Simon Pagenaud. They'll start side by side.
Always risky starting side by side with your teammate, especially in these conditions that far back. Scott Dixon, very surprising to see him down there. Struggling qualifying, frustrated with the setup changes that they've made. But Townsend, look at this front straightaway. This is looking very dry. We're going to see drivers trying to find wet bits of racetrack to keep those tires cool.
You may have noticed on that starting grid too, Juan Pablo Montoya is back. JPM, two-time Indy 500 winner, IndyCar champion. He's back as all part of the preparation to lead up to the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. So with that being said, fellas, let's have a look at the Honda track preview. Talk us through the finer points.
And this might be our most important Honda track preview of the season as we get to see from Romain Grosjean, the number 28 car, on board. What does it look like here for Grosjean as he winds back and forth, getting some heat into the Firestone wet tires, but not wanting to push it too hard. So already I can tell much wetter on the back straightaway from turn 6 to 7 there than on the front straightaway. So that will factor heavily into the driver's decision. Here's where Grosjean is over here, turn 7 right now. James, you've raced here every time except today. What's the hardest part of this track?
This section right here, Townsend, these S's, whether it's wet or dry, that 7 through 10, oh, look at how slippery it is. That 7 through 10 section, there's so much lap time there. It's so tough on the tires. You got to take care of your car through there. A lot of compromise, a lot of give and take throughout that section. Requires a lot of patience. If you're fast through there, you're probably going to be fast over the course of a lap. Great passing zone right there into turn 12. That's where he lost the lead to Rinus VeeKay last year, but a couple good passing opportunities here.
Look at how different the racetrack is, Diff, on the other side of the track as they come to the front stretch. And we've got to remember the track temp is 87 degrees, so bit of a heating blanket there, which will also really speed up the track drying process. And you can see all these drivers trying the wide line, rim shotting the corner, trying to figure out where the grip is or where the chocolate isn't on the granola bar, if you watched that a few minutes ago.
All right, let's check in with the guys one more time before we go racing. Marty Snyder, what you got?
The Auto Nation on board will bring us views from Romain Grosjean today, one of the most experienced in the rain. When you talk about that, Romain's been looking forward to this, no doubt about it, but he doesn't know this tire. That's the one thing he commented on. He also said turn 7, where you guys were talking about on the backstretch, maybe the most wet part of the racetrack. They would like to make it, Kevin, to lap 9 before they get on the slicks if they can.
And Simon Pagenaud also has an Auto Nation on board. Remember that wet race here in 2019? Pagenaud charged late and won that race. I asked him a few minutes ago, so your dance worked? He just smiled and said, yes, it did, because he starts back in the back. By the way, people are already talking about changing to dry tires, but it may rain again before this race is over, Dylan.
Hy-Vee on board for Jack Harvey, who starts 9th, always a threat here at the Indy Road Course. He said if it rains, it rains. They're just going to let it come to us. Been a really good weekend for these guys. He finished 3rd in that wet race in 19. Keep your eye on the 45.
And holistically, it was a much better qualifying weekend for all 3 Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan drivers, so they're buoyed by it. This is a terrific track for Jack Harvey, and the field starts to pack up. We get ready to go racing after a slight weather delay. Things are looking good for a start now to get this month of May officially going with this GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and expect some wild things on the opening lap. It's Will Power who leads them to green in his Verizon 5G Chevy, right alongside the defending series champion. A really strong pack up here. Everybody's playing well. Race control's going to like that. Let's get things going here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 2022. Here we go. Power's got that inside line where it's a little wetter. Palou is on the outside where it seems somewhat drier. Callum Eilert in that red, rather that green, white and black car. 3-4 back on the inside.
Got Scott Dixon up the inside, 4 wide there, a little further back up on the curb there.
Oh, that's Christian Lundgaard, the red-white car off in the grass just up ahead. That stacks up everybody behind.
Alexander Rossi 3 wide with Colton Herta.
You're all clear, clear.
Palou ahead of Joseph Newgarden and tucks into 2nd. Then we pick up Arrow McLaren SP driver Pato O'Ward. Dixon shortcuts there, couldn't quite make it around. And look at this, side by side, wheel to wheel. Palou the champ, up the inside is Newgarden on his teammate. Makes that work. Power's gone from 1st to 4th in one corner.
How about Alex Palou on the outside with 2 cars to the inside, keeping it clean. Power's coming back on his teammate.
As contact, Joseph Newgarden off in the grass. Pato O'Ward's now got a run on Alex Palou heading down into turn 12. He benefited from that move. The 2 Penske's got wide. He got into 2nd place, and now he's looking for the lead guys.
The winner from Barber Motorsports Park 2 weeks ago has a real head of steam at the moment. Qualified well, coming off that victory. Head is clear from the early season disturbances, and he is on a mission. Harvey's making moves here. He's right alongside Romain Grosjean in that black and red Hy-Vee Honda.
And you got to remember, up to this point, every single corner they've gone through, they're doing for the first time in the wet. So you are learning as you are racing. It's such a difficult situation for a driver right now. Every brake zone, every apex, every on-throttle application, you're sort of guessing, and it's going to adapt and evolve as every single lap goes here. So all these drivers very heads up to have no major issues so far.
Harvey gets a little wide there as Grosjean's coming back. Newgarden trying to reclaim his position further up that he lost when Power made that move, pushing him wide, and the track drying very quickly. Power now off at the exit of the chicane. Rosenqvist gets by.
It has not gone well either for Connor Daly. He's dropped spots, so too Christian Lundgaard. We saw that early on. There is Daly there in the Bitten Isle, the gold and blue car. Ilott tucked in. Alexander Rossi had a good opening lap. He made up 4 spots. Here comes Dalton Kellett up the inside, trying to go through on Helio Castro-Neves. Can't make that work.
Oh, Kellett almost loses the back end there. I love the aggression, though, from Dalton Kellett. Haven't seen a lot of that so far, and he's up on the wheel as the battle for second. Palou side by side with Rosenqvist here.
McLaren 1-2 at the moment. What a statement, guys. We saw incredible pace out of these two drivers at Texas.
Yeah, I need more.
It looked like they were going to be running 1-2 before problems in the pits, but now they are absolutely putting on a clinic so far in these tricky conditions. You can hear Alex Palou just feathering the throttle through that turn 14, and now he dives to the inside, Townsend, to get on that wet part of the racetrack to try to keep these Firestones cool.
Yeah, the very soft compound in the wet on the Firestone wet tires, and that's the key, is trying to keep the temperature down. Just watch Rosenqvist slide around in front of Palou. Already you can see that it's a handful on the drier sections as the tires are squirming. And Kevin, is someone in pit lane?
Colton Herta is going after it. Lap 3, Takuma Sato also is changing. It's the alternate Firestone, the red. These are soft. He's got an extra set. Colton Herta is ready to gamble and see if he can keep it on the track.
That's a brave move.
It's very brave, but not a bad call. He's got to roll the dice from where he was. But one thing that's important to remember, guys, is by starting on wet, by declaring a wet race, the tire rules go out the window. There is no need to run both the primary black sidewall tires and the alternate red sidewall tires. The reds have been the preferred all weekend. As we see a car around, looks like Graham Rahal, Marcus Ericsson backwards in turn 7.
They're on wet tires, but you can see side-to-side contact on the sidewall of Graham's left rear tire. All kinds of chaos.
Devlin DiFrancesco side by side with 6-time champion Scott Dixon. Christian Lundgaard may be back there as well.
By the way, no further action from race control for that quick shortcut on the opening lap by Dixon. I think race control saw that he had nowhere to go, the PNC Bank Honda, so no problem there. Pato O'Ward has over a 1 second lead.
Look at this, guys.
Over
Look at
Felix Rosenqvist and the twitch. This is shades of Marco Andretti in Detroit several years ago.
Fighting to get temperature, anything to get heat in the tires. If he can get heat, this will work out, but he cannot throw it away, Dylan.
Will Power is in as well. They're going to the scuff reds for Power, Marty.
These leaders up front pitting. Here's the problem, though. You can come out and put these slick tires, but it does not put you in the proper fuel window to make it in 2 more stops. They wanted to go a little bit further if they could, but just giving up too much lap time. Pato O'Ward pits from the lead.
This is going to be fascinating. Colton Herta gets to the front straightaway. Will Power on slicks, trying to get temperature. Here comes Herta, and I think Colton Herta is going to have no problem taking the lead as these guys come out on cold slick tires. Watch this.
Going to be close, going to be close. His old teammate Pato O'Ward there from Indy Lights. Here he is wheel to wheel with Power. That one's easily done. Now he can begin the chase on Pato O'Ward.
I think Colton's going to go blowing by here if O'Ward has trouble getting heat.
Well, I should say he's got that 1 lap of heat in these red sidewall tires, and that's going to be a huge advantage. Pato's going to be going through this tricky 7 to 10 section. It's going to say his first time lap. He has no idea what this car's going to be like on the slick tires through here, so Colton's going to catch him quite a bit right now.
Remember how tough it was for Colton Herta through this section. He almost threw it off the road. There's Pato O'Ward.
Oh, look out! Big
nice save!
Sideways!
Nice save from Colton Herta.
That was huge. He was on the walk stops there, wide for Pato O'Ward, and Colton Herta is going to go through.
That was a phenomenal save. That was a crash that didn't happen by the Gainbridge Honda driver, who started 14th, and is now out in front.
And just think about the dominant performance Colton Herta has had on the road courses, only to see a couple of them get thrown away. It doesn't get any closer to throwing away a potential race win than that moment right there. Now everybody's on pit lane.
That was incredible. I mean, his heart is in his throat. There was no doubt. My heart's in my throat just watching that. When the conditions are like this, the drivers are so on edge, you're so tense in the car, you've got to stay cool and calm, and that save from Colton Herta was as cool as you could possibly do it. Let's get another look at it. This was absolutely awesome. On board here into turn 7.
That was Tokyo Drift. That was unbelievable. Here it comes.
Oh my God, that was hand work, that was footwork, that was everything he could do all the way on the lock stops. There was nothing left for Colton Herta to do to keep that car pointing straight. Look at that.
Never have I seen an IndyCar slide that far sideways in the wet on slicks without something bad happening. Amazing stuff from Herta.
That's absolutely incredible. Normally, once you get that amount of angle in the car, it's going around whether you're doing everything you can or not.
His dad once had a rallycross team. Speaking of rallycross, VK, Grosjean power, 3 into 1, generally doesn't go. They get through it somehow, through turn 7.
VK in that darker orange 21, Grosjean in the lighter orange 28. That was close. That section is tough.
Look at this. Contact.
Kirkwood, backwards.
Saw that one come in, and we see Palou now.
No.
Palou's in the grass. And he's stuck. He's beached it, guys. That's going to be a yellow flag. Oh, no. Maybe he can go forward. Here we go. Keep your foot in it, son. Here we go.
I think there may be somebody else off as well over to the left of this shot, unless it was the lockup from Alex. It was. That was just the smoke drifting across. Jimmy Johnson there in the light blue Carvana Honda tiptoeing through. There goes Tatiana Calderon, Christian Lundgaard, and the champ after starting on the front row.
He stalled it.
Oh, to get all that way.
As he got on the asphalt.
Oh, the visor is up, guys. That's usually the sign to the officials that the car is stalled. He is broadside on the racetrack. I don't see how we don't go yellow. There it is.
And I don't see how he doesn't go a lap down by the time they get him restart. Caution is out, and championship points leader Alex Palou is dead in the water.
That's big.
I think we can go back through the last 2 years of the NTT IndyCar Series and count on no hands, the kind of unforced errors that we've seen from Alex Palou. So this is a huge difference. Let's see if maybe there was another car involved. We saw Kirkwood around trying to make that pass attempt.
Yeah, he went, here's Kirkwood in the rocket, the all black car on the inside of Rinus VK. And there's no way through there, so he goes off. And
yeah,
Palou's already gone.
He's already gone, yeah. So another look here, just tries to dive. I mean, VK has no idea he's there. He probably barely even felt that contact.
The blue and white car is Alex Palou. Unforced error. He's just out wide, snaps around on him.
He had the big drift like Colton Herta, but it snapped on him, kind of like a high side MotoGP. Just couldn't unwind the wheel quick enough. Here we see a great aerial view, and that's a tank slapper.
Here from the onboard, all the curve there in turn 9 on the throttle. He loses it a little bit on entry, and then as he gets to power, big snap. You see his hands were all the way off the wheel. He thought he was going all the way around. He's actually surprised, I think, surprised himself to save it. And on this wet grass, the car just doesn't stop, just keeps going.
So under caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And this race has given us so much already. NBC's coverage of IndyCar is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, official partner of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. This is banking a Fifth Third better. Honda, an official vehicle of the NTT IndyCar Series. NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by Global Medical Response, providing care to the world at a moment's notice. And I want to let you know that tomorrow kicks off the start of EMS Week, and GMR will honour the men and women who have risen to the challenge during the COVID-19 pandemic and aided during other national disasters. Today, we have 21 GMR team members here to be recognised for all their efforts, and we say we support you and say a huge thank you. Everybody from AMR, GMR, who keep the drivers and everybody here in the IndyCar family safe. Welcome back, folks. You're watching the NTT IndyCar Series live here on NBC. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Marty Snyder, Dylan Welsh, Kevin Lee. Big weekend. We're getting the month of May going, and boy, did we get it going.
Fantastic stuff. So unpredictable. and you can really tell that the drivers there in the tire sequence, Marty, just totally struggling to find the grip as Palou comes in to top up, and a smart move.
Yeah, smart move by that team, and Alex has not said a word about what happened on the racetrack. So we talked about how the teams really wanted to make it to lap 9 before they took these rain tires off. But look at what a dry racetrack does to these Firestones. I mean, that's an absolute cheese grater to these tires. So when Colton Herta put on the slicks, got off of these rain tires, he was so much quicker, and that's why they were able to do that first. But that's a key point, Lee, because guess what's coming in about 20 minutes? They're saying maybe more rain. So that could play a factor even later in this race as well.
We'll take it. Yeah, the drivers won't necessarily like it, but we'll take it. It's been one of those days here in Indy, that's for sure, as we give you the updated radar there. But for now, things are dry. And the man who started 14th, Colton Herta, leads this race over Arrow McLaren SP's Pato Award. Here is the 22-year-old Californian looking for that big result so far. He was leading and dominating and then got put under some pressure at his home race in Long Beach, California, and then crashed, made an unforced error, crashed heavily into the wall, and that put paid to those chances of being victorious after starting on the pole position. But he has been the man of the moment here in Indy as the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis gets back underway.
Nice early launch from Colton Herta. He was not waiting. He wanted to get as much room between himself and Pato Award behind as he could, and it looks like he's going to be pretty safe here into turn 1. A little bit of side-by-side further back. Alexander Rossi under pressure from Jack Harvey.
Callum Ilott up the inside of Pagano, I believe, there in the pink and black car. Ilott has had a great weekend going, struggled a bit on that opening stint in the wet, and is now fighting back through.
So I meant McLaughlin when I said Harvey, but guys, look, Connor Daly still holding strong.
Yes.
In front of Newgarden, behind Power there in 5th.
And another driver who came in on the same lap as Colton Herta. Look at the purple and white car. That is Takuma Sato, the 2-time Indianapolis 500 winner in the Nurtec ODD Honda for Dale Coyne Racing with Rick Ware Racing. So that's worked well for Taku also.
Guys, this is going to play out really interesting from a strategy standpoint. Those cars that pitted lap 3, lap 4, like Colton Herta lap 2, as we see Callum Ilott maybe looking to make a move here. Defensive move from Harvey into 12. Oh, offensive move down on Rinus VeeKay. Is that going to open the door for Ilott now on the outside of 13? That's a tough move, Townsend.
VeeKay's been hard to pass, and it's shoulder-to-shoulder contact there. Ilott gets pushed off, and here comes Pagano back around the outside.
This is the Honkos Hollinger Racing entry, the green, black, and white car. The young British driver, who was a Formula One test and reserve driver up until the end of last year when he came to the NTT IndyCar Series, gets that position back from Simon Pagano.
Amazing move. Offline, it's going to be even a little wetter than maybe where Simon Pagano was hitting the brake. So brave move from Callum Ilott. Pulled it off beautifully.
All right, so the $1 million in the People Ready Force for Good challenge is still on the line for the driver of the number 2, that PPG Chevy Joseph Newgarden. He's already won on a street course. He's already won on an oval. If he wins on a road course like here, $1 million he will take home to share amongst 2 charities of his choice. So it's on the line, and he's got a shot at it.
Got several cars to pass to pull that off over the next 74 laps, including Connor Daly, who's just in front of him. But Connor Daly having a terrific weekend so far. That Bitnile Chevy has been fast. Connor put it 4th on the grid and looking strong, looking very defensive as well when Newgarden was showing a nose. But Connor settling in nicely to great race pace.
Talk more about the race leader with Kevin Lee. Kev?
I want to go back and revisit Colton Herta making that pass as we see more opportunities, and Joseph Newgarden getting a spot there when he got the leader. Remember, that's his dad, IndyCar race winner Brian Herta, on his radio. So listening to the radio is like a version of, hey Dad, watch this. Let's listen.
Back it down. Yeah, I got it. That's pretty amazing, huh? I did not think that was going to happen.
So he wanted to make sure everybody saw that, save the slide, and keeping his foot in it to the front. Colton Herta is making it happen.
And so too is Takuma Sato. Nice move there.
Way to go.
Inside. Connor Daly. Daly's lost 2 positions in just 2 turns as Alexander Rossi goes by. Now lining up for a shot. Here comes Scott McLaughlin.
Not sure what's happened to Daly, James, because his pace was good and now it's just totally falling apart. He's dropping quickly through the field.
He got put offline, maybe got some dirt on his tires, you know, tires cooled off, maybe getting wet, and he is absolutely falling like a rock. This is not what he wanted to see after such a strong start.
It's almost like he's got a puncture, but stays out.
Scott Dixon next in line here. He's going to be on the push to pass button, trying to make this move on the number 20, right in his slipstream. Pulls out pretty. How am I the only one saving fuel? Is that what?
Yeah, sounded like it. This is an interesting situation. So if we look at the last lap for all the cars, almost everybody pitted on lap 3 or 4 for the dry tires. The first car to pit on lap 8 right now is Lundgaard, Christian Lundgaard. I don't think you can make it unless you save a lot of fuel on 3 more stops. So I think that's what's going on with Connor Daly. They're telling him, hey, save gas. All these other cats are going to need some rain to make it work.
Oh, whoa! Side by side, Roman Grosjean, but Rinus VeeKay got the elbows out.
These 2 guys had a slight altercation this morning in morning warm-up as well, which resulted in Grosjean being off on the grass outside of turn 1. Now here comes Callum Ilott again, lining up for another shot. Got up 2 positions since the restart. Let's go for a ride. The Auto Nation on board with Romain Grosjean. Ilott in pursuit.
Take the rest control, that was not too much.
Those brake rotors glowing into turn 1. Outside not going to work there for Callum Ilott, but he is all over the gearbox of this Gleaners Honda for Andretti Autosport.
Certainly doesn't sound like Grosjean's trying to save any fuel at this stage.
No, I don't think they are yet, but I love where Christian Lundgaard is. I think that's a great call. I mean, he's essentially a stop ahead of every car in front of him. As you see, Simon Pagenaud on the button now, trying to capitalize on Ilott working on Grosjean.
200 seconds of push to pass to get that extra boost. You can use it in up to 20-second deployments to give you that advantage to try and get that competitor. Meanwhile, Colton Herta leads to the tune of 3.2 seconds over Pato O'Ward. It's a McLaren ASP GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis sees the full course caution for the 2nd time, and the reason being involves the one-time championship leader this year, and he is out of the car. That's Joseph Newgarden in the PPG Chevy. And this is what happened. Takuma Sato in the purple and white car. There was a little bit of hustle and bustle going on there. But what was the ultimate undoing? Contact with Alexander Rossi. The black and red car is Jack Harvey, and that was enough to cut down a tire. But maybe there's something more.
Newgarden just a bit of a ping pong ball here. Harvey trying to sneak up the inside. I don't think expected Rossi to come down like that. They were 3 wide. I think Rossi probably thought they were 2 wide.
I think that's exactly right. I don't think Rossi had any idea Joseph was there, or sorry, that Jack was there. So on the outside now, you see the initial contact, and now he's just trying to lean on him a bit and force him to lift, not realizing that he's got Harvey on the inside of him. For all we know, Joseph didn't even know that because his eyes were forward looking at Alex.
Hard on acceleration.
Yeah, I don't think Rossi appreciated the contact first of all.
He did.
Rossi was going straight to the white line no matter what.
Yeah, you can see Joseph just didn't have the grip there. He drove right into Alex. Alex gave him the room.
And a little forklift effect there that brings him up and spins him around. Prior to that, Kyle Kirkwood for AJ Foyt Racing in the Rocket Chevy. And that was all by himself. He went deep into turn 7. Check this out here. Challenging on Connor Daly, and goes deep, deep, too deep.
Yeah, just lost his references maybe down in the corner, side by side with Connor Daly, and I've seen this a couple times today. Slick tires, wet grass, no good.
This is definitely going to help all those drivers that stopped lap 2, 3, 4. These yellow laps are going to be very, very important for them. Still don't know if it's going to be enough though, Townsend. I think this really just kind of makes it easier for the guys that went on 8.
second yellow of the day, and it has taken the two-time winner this year, Joseph Newgarden, out of this race. NBC's coverage of IndyCar is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by Hy-Vee, proud sponsor of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Hy-Vee, making lives easier, healthier, and happier. And a quick reminder that IndyCar fans throughout the entire Indy racing season, you can grab your mobile device, very simple, scan the QR code that you see on your screen for a chance to win $25,000 at HyVdeals.com. Very simple, scan the QR code, register to win, and we say thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee. And the Hy-Vee Honda of Jack Harvey has been on a bit of a mission today. We ride along with Jack here, and he sits in 7th position at the moment. Best run of the year for him so far as being up in the top 10 and towards the right end of this field. Getting ready to go racing again after the end of the second full course caution. Joseph Newgarden's PPG Chevy has been retrieved and is heading back to the paddock area. Meanwhile, Colton Herta in this black and yellow Gainbridge Honda. He gets another flying restart. He wants to try and clear out because he had over a 3-second lead over Pato O'Ward when the caution came out.
I'll tell you, Pato O'Ward seems to have great straight line speed there. Closed a big gap as Takuma Sato goes to the inside. Big move.
Good job. Way to go. Way to go. You're clear.
That was on willpower, and that was very decisive.
Oh.
Another one in the grass, and it's Rinus VK.
Him and contact. Devlin DeFrancesco, the 21 started to go around. Nowhere for him to go there.
Good job there, guys.
That started a few laps ago. Callum Ilott was forced off by Rinus VK when he was trying to get by the first time. So Callum kind of returning the favor there coming out of Two Townsend, and unfortunately, the half spin led to contact with Devlin DeFrancesco. Nowhere for the 29 to go.
Massive damage to VK's floor there on the right side, just in front of the right rear tire. DeFrancesco, see the whole thing is chewed up right here. DeFrancesco, I think, hit pretty square. I'm not sure that there's much damage there, if you can believe that. That was pretty big contact with the T-bone, but if you hit it square on the nose, these cars are really strong hitting just the nose. If you clip the wing, they can fall apart pretty easily, but that nose is like a center punch.
AMR safety team has been worked overtime here in this race for being so young. Only 20 laps into this 85 lapper. Here it is. Ilott has a slight contact there with VK. Now watch this. Boom.
I mean, that's a pretty good save from Devlin, keeping it locked up until the angle was a little better, was able to just keep the thing pointed straight. But
yeah, Devlin thought about going to the right, but wasn't really a hole there to make that work. And just looking at the left front there of DeFrancesco, it looks all right. Here's another angle. Watch Ilott's hand. Whoop.
Yeah, opens his hand just a little bit there. Again, I think just returning the favor from before.
So different here in the wet, in that the moment a tire touches that grass, it's game over. You can run the grass and the dry pretty well here around Indy. VK struggling to get it back to pit lane.
Struggling to get it back to the racetrack.
And there's going to be a lot of carbon bits, I think, potentially on the racetrack here with the damage to that floor. If he doesn't take it too easy, he's got a flat right rear now also.
Tire flat, take it easy.
And these yellow laps, guys, it's just helping Colton Herta, helping everyone in the top 15, really. Just clocking off those yellow laps, taking care of it. He got to be very careful with that tire. See it locking up. Could come apart very easily, do even more damage. But I don't know, Townsend. That floor was pretty heavily damaged. If he gets back out there, this is not going to be a fun car to drive.
Yeah, it'll be heavily compromised. It almost looked like there was damage on the left side, too, from earlier contact.
Folks, we talked to you from the 9th floor of the pagoda, right above the world-famous Yard of Bricks, and just looking out and about, that sky has changed.
It's dark.
Since the green flag flew a little earlier. So weather is going to be a factor here. Wind starting to increase, and those dark skies coming back like they were earlier. The radar tells the story.
Dorothy's running inside as that big red blob approaches. VK's crew assesses the damage here. Right rear comes off. Floor on the ground, even with the car on the jacks, the floor is still hanging down.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're at least going to have to shut the car off and have a really good look at this. Cut some pieces off the car maybe if you have to so it's not dragging, but I don't see this being a quick. There we go. The engine is off now on the 21. Making sure everything suspension-wise is straight. Again, it was a good hit.
So as the Ed Carpenter Racing guys go to work on Rinus VK's car, track will be cleaned up, all that carbon fiber taken away as we prepare to go racing again in the GMR Grand Prix. There's a good shot high above the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the front runners. We are coming to the end of this third full course caution, ready to go racing again. Watch the car fourth in line. That's two-time Indy 500 winner Takuma Sato. He made a huge move on Will Power at the previous restart. Now let's see what he can do again. Feeling racy in his new ride. For Dale Coyne with Rick Ware Racing, ready to go. Front runner, Colton Herta's not hanging about either. The two Arrow McLaren SP cars, good to go.
See ya. Colton Herta's been getting huge jumps on Pato O'Ward. And I think for good reason, because like I said, Pato seems to have the straight line speed, so Colton knows that and is doing everything he can to gap that Arrow McLaren driver on the restart.
He nearly got the pace car on that one as he manages to hold line going into turn one there.
It's Honda versus Chevy at the front. Honda powers Herta, Chevrolet powers O'Ward, and Chevrolet has dominated this season as far as victories. And you know who's having maybe his best drive of the year? This man here, the Auto Nation onboard, Alexander Rossi is back.
I think I was going to say, I think Rage is is powering Alexander Rossi right now. He just wants a good result, and he's all over the back of Will Power into turn 7.
This is the speed we've been looking for out of Rossi the last year or two, the angry fast. It's back. And it's working. Rossi has given 0 quarter to the competitors, Marty. He is full send mode.
Yeah, Rossi certainly driving with a little bit of ambition behind the wheel. Listen on the radio.
Try for a few number 87 if you can, but get positions if you can too. Just use your head. I don't think that's possible. Copy. Saving fuel, let's go.
There you go, Rossi saying, I'm not saving any fuel, I want to go to the front, and I heard one team say he is a bull out there. Rossi saving no quarter here at the road course at Indy.
Great call, I think, from Rossi. Why save fuel when the weather's so unpredictable right now? You want track position. Rossi with the right call, and Rossi right up under the back of that Verizon car, Will Power.
Check out the Firestone telemetry hinge there on the left-hand side of your screen as he hustles.
He's a monster on the brakes there into turn 1. It's important to get a good exit here. Turn 4, he's keeping it tight down, so to try to get a clean run flat through this chicane. A little bit too far back now, but you can see 160 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour, coming up to just shy of 180 before he hits just over 180 before he hits the brakes for turn 7. This is the fastest road course we go to.
Oh.
You know, we talked a little bit about how this track can be so sensitive to temperature. The Andretti cars, they're kind of hit and miss here. It always seemed like when the track temps were cooler, they were better. Yesterday, high track temps, the cars really struggled. Now, with this weather, it's cooled down. And look, we got an Andretti Autosport car leading. We got Rossi making moves up in the top 6 right now. I think this is the conditions that these cars of this team are really looking for and really thrive in.
See if Rossi gets a shot here on Will Power as they come to the front straightaway. It doesn't look like Rossi's on push to pass just yet. Everybody seems pretty patient on the button.
Good drive, Jack Harvey. Here is Joseph Newgarden back at the Team Penske garage, climbing back aboard the PPG Chevy. Tell us more, Marty.
He had to climb out of the car lead because they had to tow it back with those 2 flat rear tires, and they told Joseph, we can't tow it back with you in the car. So IndyCar allowed him to get out, come back to the garage area. They then made the necessary repairs. Newgarden will be allowed to re-enter the race.
Hey guys, look at the lead. O'Ward has caught Colton Herta. He is as close as he has been and is going with the Gainbridge Honda. So in the past 2 restarts, we've seen Herta be able to eke out a multi-second lead. It appears as though O'Ward is going with him a lot more effectively this stint.
And Pato O'Ward Diff has only used 2 of the 200 seconds of push to pass available. 198 left, as you see there, lower left-hand corner. Herta just 174. Still a lot. I shouldn't say just. 174 is pretty conservative use.
But I'm not doing driver savings. Lots of none. I won't be able to hold them. Copy that. Do what you can do.
Colton Herta, just like his teammate Alexander Rossi, saying, I'm not saving any gas because O'Ward's going to get by. And again, if weather does come, that totally throws out the fuel savings. You want the track position. They earned it with Colton Herta by taking a chance and going to the slick tires early. Colton Herta does not want to give up this lead.
Like you say, the weather's just so unpredictable at this point. The push-to-pass thing is important. Push-to-pass, obviously, you get 200 seconds. It gives you about a 50 horsepower boost. You find about an extra 5 miles an hour in that.
For those of you just joining us, Colton Herta, who leads the race, put on the most dramatic moment of the race when he was in this huge sideways drift to save it and then go on and get himself into the lead. But let's talk more Pato O'Ward for now as we ride with him.
There's that save from Herta earlier. Save of the decade from Colton Herta. That was amazing.
On board with him now. Look, all the way to the lock stops, hands off the wheel, balancing the throttle and the brake, whatever he can do. And then 2 corners later takes the lead. It didn't even phase him.
Marty, what you got on Pato?
I think Colton won the drifting contest of the day, but for Pato, you heard it on the radio a moment ago, trying to get the lead here in turn 1. He said, I'm not going to save fuel. Kevin, I think that's a sense of urgency for every driver. They know the rain is close, no time to waste right now.
And Colton Herta said, the number you're giving me is bleeping ridiculous a few minutes ago, and then we heard that transmission of, all right, let's turn it up and go. And Brian heard his dad also giving him weather updates. It's coming. Let's listen.
Is there a weather update right now? What's it like? Yeah, there's some weather about 30-40 minutes out for sure. And it's pretty severe, so right now we could be racing to that. Or on top of that, you just keep doing your thing. I'll give you fuel numbers when we need to.
So that's key. If it's severe and we go red for a while, then the race is to half distance.
Well, yeah, we're racing to lap, what, 43.
How about the calm, maybe overly laid-back voice of Colton? He sounds like my 11-year-old son on a Monday morning when I try and get him up for school.
I don't want to take away from his cool and calmness. I've been feeling that transmission may have been while they were under caution, though.
Right.
Yes, but still, he's a pretty cool customer on the radio. But yeah, if the weather is bad, you only have to race to half distance for them to call it an official event. So if the weather gets very bad after lap 43, as we see Jack Harvey now.
Harvey on Rossi, Harvey on Rossi. Couple of Honda-powered cars, gets that done in the Hy-Vee machine for Rahal Letterman Lanigan.
Little surprised that Rossi didn't defend a little more aggressively based on the way he's gone wheel to wheel with everybody so far, but Jack Harvey with a nice move, clean, and pulling away.
Harvey's best result of the year was 13th at St. Pete at the season opener. He missed Texas after a big crash. The British driver is on a mission right now. Quick reminder, tomorrow get ready for more USFL action as the Birmingham Stallions take on the Philadelphia Stars. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern on NBC and on Peacock. We're back here in Indy racing the GMR Grand Prix, and the race leader is on pit road.
And he was the first one to stop on lap 2 and make that daring move to go to the slicks. He's got another set of Firestone alternates. The temperature feels like it's dropped 15 degrees in the last 10 minutes. The rain is coming anytime soon, but Herta wants to hope and praying that everyone else makes their pit stop or they get a free stop to switch to the rain tires.
So that puts the 2-Arrow McLaren SP Chevys in first and second, with Pato O'Ward ahead of the Swedish driver Felix Rosenqvist in the Views Chevy.
And you got to think with the track temperature the way it is, those red tires, even though they're the softer compound, the alternate tires are still going to be a lap before you get the heat in them. So Pato O'Ward and Felix Rosenqvist kind of in the catbird seat right now. I think the overcut by staying out a lap longer and running a fast lap on those hot tires, and then
full pull here, full pull.
Full pull, you see Felix Rosenqvist, he's on the button, he's on the push to pass. That's those lights on the dashboard there. He's going to go one lap longer, try to make an overcut even on his teammate and get himself into the lead. Marty.
Pato O'Ward pitting from the lead. Boy, basically every driver ignored their timing stand and said, you know what, I'm going to run hard no matter what you tell me to do. Pato O'Ward among them. He comes down pit road here. They're going to put on the red tires as well. The issue is if there's drivers behind them that saved a little bit of fuel, that rain is still 10 minutes out. So going to be interesting to see if there's someone who saved enough fuel to go all the way until the rain hits. Rossi also on pit road.
Oh, O'Ward almost stalled it there, leaving the pits. Now remember, Colton Herta is already on the racetrack, and we're watching for Colton. Here he comes. This is the blend battle.
By a mile, Colton Herta gets the advantage.
But don't forget, Colton Herta had sticker reds because of poor qualifying. He's got 2 sets, and he goes easily by Pato O'Ward.
So he's got a tire advantage. These are scuffed reds or used, and he's got 2 runs on these sets, I believe, because he did 2 runs in Q3. So 2 hard laps in qualifying on this set. Colton Herta on stickers, and look at him just pulling away.
Meanwhile, Rosenqvist has just hit pit lane, so he is the 3rd driver in the sequence there. Stayed out an extra lap. Colton Herta's got clean racetrack, though, which is huge to lay down the overcut lap times he needed to make this work. Marty?
We talked to Felix Rosenqvist this weekend. He is not under contract for next year, and he admitted to me, I need good results, not only in this race, but obviously the 500 as well, and he's certainly delivering that today. He's been in the top 3 all afternoon long. Very happy with his race car, but not saving the fuel he wanted to on that run. And I agree with Kevin. It's getting cooler, windier down here. You just sense that rain is on the doorstep here at Indy.
We understand the rain is already past Brownsburg, so the rain is coming. So now let's talk about people like Christian Lundgaard from Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing.
Just a second, Diff, as you see Rosenqvist coming out. Here comes Colton Herta, and then Pato O'Ward is just behind. It's going to be close here.
Inside line for Herta, wheel to wheel with Rosenqvist. The Gamebridge Honda prevails.
Colton Herta just gets by. Here comes Pato O'Ward, teammate further back on hot tires, but Colton Herta just kept the lead there.
So the undercut for Colton Herta actually helped him against Pato O'Ward, but the overcut, staying on a lap longer, worked against Pato O'Ward for Felix Rosenqvist, his advantage. So interesting, both strategies worked there.
So you've got a couple of guys out there who had some adversity early on in the race, who were forced to go to pit lane, like Christian Lundgaard, like Tatiana Calderon, like Marcus Ericsson, like Kyle Kirkwood. If this works out timing-wise for them, and it's a big if, but they have those laps advantage. Off goes Callum Eilert in the Juncos Hollinger Chevrolet.
And luckily for Eilert, that grass is starting to dry, but not so lucky for Dalton Kellett, who has made contact somewhere. Scott Dixon limping. Is he out of fuel?
He's out of fuel, and I was just starting to wonder if somehow, unlikely it stayed dry, Dixon was going to be the best position to do it on one more stop, but they came in 1 lap too late. He's not going to make it. He's got another 75 yards, so the crew is running down, and they're going to have to push the PNC Honda back to the stall.
It's been a disastrous weekend so far. Qualifying was horrible for Dixon. As you see, Dalton Kellett still stalled there. PNC crew pushing Dixon's car back into the box. There's a local yellow for Dalton Kellett. You can see the new digital signboards right here, flashing yellow and then green further past, indicating that you can race after that green blinking digital sign.
They are the newly installed EM Motorsport marshalling systems to enhance what already the very effective flaggers do and corner workers do. Now finally the caution has flown for the 4th time here today. And this is the EM Motorsport marshalling system that we were just referring to. And IndyCar is the first to use this in the United States. FCY, full course yellow. You can see there's a whole bunch of rangers to assist with the management of the race.
Look at the marbles. Full course cautions out.
So Scott McLaughlin sort of driving through them there.
Like a vacuum.
I'd be in lockstep with Takuma Sato, trying to get as clean a bit of racetrack as you can there.
So we're in a bit of a waiting game. Not only waiting for this caution to be over, but how about the weather? This is what happened to Dalton Kellett. NBC's coverage of IndyCar is brought to you by Global Medical Response, providing care to the world at a moment's notice. Shield Products, your full lineup of disinfectants, cleansers, and PPE products. Proud partner of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. And by Hy-Vee. Throughout the race season, HyVeeDeals.com provides a chance for you to win $25,000. HyVeeDeals.com, proud sponsor of the 45 car, Jack Harvey. Internet that's in a league of its own, made to do anything so you can do anything. Unbeatable internet for the win, only from Xfinity. And all you have to do is look at the fans and how they are reacting to this impending nasty weather. Let's find out more. Here's Kevin Lee. Kev?
Well, the top two haven't pitted yet, Marcus Ericsson and Kyle Kirkwood, so if they can stand until it rains, then at least they're on the same strategy, and maybe even if it stops and we don't finish in the catbird seat. Michael Garrett calling strategy for Marcus Ericsson. Might you guys have somehow worked your way into a winning situation here?
Another crazy day for the 8 car, right? So, yeah, we're just hanging on here. Marcus still has a few laps of fuel left in the car, and you know, with the we spun early there, we got hit and had to repair some damage, and but he's been doing good laps since then, and we're just going to see what we can do and see what the weather does to us here.
The main thing is you just want to stay out until it rains. Everyone pits, got a chance.
Yeah, I think you know, regardless, we can go race everybody now. So if the rain comes, if it doesn't, we're just going to take it to them, see what we can do.
They had to change the full rear wing assembly with damage. They could go from that situation on pit lane to maybe winning this race today.
And the reason why Mike O'Gara was kind of giggling there was kind of, this is shades of Nashville all over again from last year, where Marcus had the most spectacular moment you've ever seen in IndyCar, where he was doing a wheelie and
off the back of Sebastian Bourdais,
off the back of a fellow competitor, came in, no worries, got back out there and ended up racing Colton Herta, who he may very well end up racing here again, and went all the way to victory lane. So it was quite extraordinary. So we'll see how this is going to work out as Kellett's car is rescued. Weather is coming. This is getting crazy. High speed and even higher stakes. You can go behind the scenes with Jimmy Johnson as he carves his way around the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. See how determination carried Jimmy across the finish line for his best IndyCar finish when you tune into episode 3 of the docuseries Reinventing the Wheel on Carvana.com/racing. And as an official charity of IndyCar and Chip Ganassi Racing, American Legion is encouraging fans to support our veterans now more than ever. Text HONOR VETS to 41444 or visit legion.org to show your support. We have got cars on pit road.
Biff, it is starting to rain on pit road as well. You're on board with the championship leader coming into the day, Alex Palou and Alex Rossi. They're the only ones who came down pit road to get on rain tires. As it starts to rain, the rest of the field is staying out on slicks. I am shocked, Townsend, that no one else took on rain tires here.
Well, especially if you're having a bad day. Rossi's having a pretty good day, so it's a bit more of a gamble. But if you think rain is coming, and boy, colors don't lie there, that red zone is coming for the Speedway. That could be the winning move from Rossi's team, because as soon as the skies really open up, everybody's going to have to pit, and they'll all go behind Alexander Rossi. Looks like someone's got a mismatched tire there, too. Is that Kyle Kirkwood?
Devlin DeFrancesco looks like he came in and got the wet tires as well, but we can see the rain on the camera lens, guys. The lights are out on the safety car.
Look at Kyle Kirkwood. It either has all the red scuffed off his left front tire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look
at this.
It's good.
It looks like it's a Firestone Black.
Yeah, it does. So the issue isn't the rain, folks, because IndyCars race in the rain. It's only that earlier today we had lightning strikes close enough by, so if that comes back, this may be a race declared once it hits halfway. But Marcus Ericsson in the Husky Chocolate Honda sees that green. Kirkwood right behind. Dixon in the mix. There's Colton Herta. Here are the Arrow McLaren SP twins.
Slick tires, wet racetrack. Watch out.
Colton Herta shaking all over. Kuma Sato on the outside of Jack Harvey around.
Teammates, contact, nose to nose.
He tried to go, Pato Award tried to go through on Colton Herta. It did not work out, and it's worked out even worse for his teammates. Sato goes around.
And look at the rain is coming. This is huge for Rossi. Caution is out. Alexander Rossi took a gamble, and it's about to pay off under caution.
Guys, so did Devlin DeFrancesco is actually ahead of him on the track. So essentially, Devlin DeFrancesco is leading.
A lap down, I think.
Is he a lap down?
2 laps down.
Oh, I take that back.
From the contact
of course.
earlier.
Yes, that's right. Of course. So yeah, you can see Alexander Rossi trying to keep these tires wet. He's going offline there. Disaster for Felix Rosenqvist. Another strong result on the cards. Oh, having it all come unwound like that. They were just terrible.
I mean,
they were right there.
A minute ago, they were running 1-2. They were having a great day.
They were right there. Pato Award tried to go for the big move on the inside on Colton Herta, got pinched a little bit, spins, and nose to nose with his teammate.
Hard lap.
Listen to the spotter.
Oh, and then Takuma Sato right in front of Jack Harvey, who managed to avoid that. Great for Jack to get around all of that mess. He's just picking his way off here up through this field. Scott McLaughlin nearly collected on the back end of that McLaren sandwich.
He went, yeah, McLaughlin went the outside, Harvey went through the middle, Sato got on the grass and spun, so it was very fortuitous for McLaughlin. This is from Pato O'Ward.
Listen to the revs.
Left side, left side.
Yeah, no contacts, just lost the back of the car.
Well, he had to kind of pinch off the exit to avoid contact, and I think that was enough to spin him around. Great shot here. On board with Rosenqvist.
Oh, I mean, if Rosenqvist had just kept his right hand down, he would have been able to maybe get around, but he thought that Pato was going to spin across him, and he diverted left. So tough to make that call.
Anywhere for Rosenqvist to go there, and just brutal for the team and both drivers. Now it seems like the sun's back out. I don't know, pit lane, Marty, what's going on with the weather?
It's raining, Townsend. No, it's raining down here on pit road. So yes, the rain is coming, and I can see pretty much all the leaders laid out with rain tires. And Alexander Rossi, I can guarantee you, sitting behind the wheel of that Napa machine, smiling very big. And by the way, that was totally Alexander Rossi's car. He actually asked Brian Barnhart, his strategist, can we please pit for rain tires? Seeing that no one else was going to do it, he made that call. Might be the winning move of the race.
Man, he's just been making calls from inside that cockpit all day, guys, and it's working out so far.
Said, I'm not going to save fuel. I'm going for it. I'd like to come in and get the wet weather Firestone tires on, and it seems to have been the right call right here now as we nudge ever so close to the halfway point of this race.
That would make the race official in the event that lightning appeared or a ton of rain. And look at the wind. Wow, it didn't take long for that to go from about 5 knots to 25.
And let's not pretend like wind does not affect these cars, Townsend. So you're dealing with the rain now. You're going to be dealing with these incredibly strong winds through these fast corners, like especially right through here where they're coming turn 14.
But it's raining on the front stretch, but then on the backside of the track, it kind of looks still dry for the line. The wind's picked up. This is such classic Indianapolis weather right now. It's a 2.5 mile oval. Look at that. It's a completely different story on the front stretch.
And I'm looking down a little bit at how this has mixed up the field. You got Callum Ilott back up in the top 10 after some problems. Tatiana Calderon running 12th right now. Connor Daly, after we saw him drop all the way down, back up to 13th. Still, I wish he could get into his hot tub time machine, maybe go back to the first end of this race when he was running the top 5.
I mean, Rossi's all the way down in 16th, but not for long if this thing goes green with all those guys staying out on slicks.
Scott Dixon is the 4th car in line there, trying to get his lap back after he ran out. 3rd car, pardon me, right there in the PNC Bank Honda. He's trying to get his lap back after he ran out of fuel a little earlier. So much going on, Marty.
Let's chat with Brian Barnhart. So was there any hesitation on your behalf when your driver said, let's please pit for rain tires, Brian?
Well, yeah, you want to look at it, but I think, you know, we made a good team decision there based on what Alex's input was and where he thought we needed to be. We talked about it here on a stand and validated exactly what he was thinking, made the call fairly late for him to come, and fortunately it looks like it's worked out fairly well so far.
How's your rain dance?
I still want more of it coming, for sure.
There you go. They're the ones sitting there with rain tires, and I can tell you pretty much all the leaders laid out as if they are going to come as soon as pit road opens to take on those rain tires. But Rossi, if they all come down, will be sitting pretty.
Yeah, he's just going to cruise on by.
But he needs this thing to finish, to complete. He needs the race to continue. We're at lap 44 right now. We saw a radar shot just a few minutes ago, and there was this big ominous blob moving towards the track. But for this to work out, Rossi needs this race to restart. I think that's why everybody's staying out right now. They're gambling on the fact that this might be called if thunder and lightning appears.
It's a very strong argument, but look how much rain is on the lens of this camera. He is definitely on the right tire right now, Kev.
And that's the great debate. So the 8 car, Marcus Ericsson, the leader, was going to pit, and he just said, no, I'm staying out. Same thing with Colton Herta right now. Colton said, I think right now it's still slicks, plus no one wants to come in. What if lightning comes? We're at the halfway point of this race.
Dylan, it's a chess match.
It is indeed, and Kyle Kirkwood, they've opted to come in and take rain tires. So Kirkwood came on the radio and said, it's kind of starting to let up over here, and it'll be dry in 5 laps if it stops raining, but they still opted to come down and put those rain tires on for Kirkwood.
Guy, what I'm wondering is, why are we still under caution?
Fair point.
We went gushing for Dalton Kellett a while ago.
Fair point.
Am I forgetting?
It's a raceable racetrack right now.
I don't know if the race director is waiting almost for rain to come. You can see the rain in the puddle, guys, right there in pit lane. You can see the raindrops. Yeah, it is definitely coming down in pit lane. Marty's telling the truth.
Yeah, and it's still raining down here, Hinch. Let's talk to Kyle Morey, who's left his driver, Scott McLaughlin, out, and he's talking to him right now. They have decided not to put on the rain tires. Why not put on the rain tires here, Kyle?
It looks like it's going to stay like this for at least another 5 to 10 minutes, and right now you're just going to tear them up. It's not wet enough, but it's going to come eventually, I think. We just got to time it right.
Oh, Hinch, put us behind the wheel. How dicey is this going to be on a fairly wet racetrack for those drivers up front on slicks?
Guys, driving an IndyCar on the limit in the dry is like driving a road car in the snow. The grip level, you know, is so on edge. When you drive it in the rain, it's like driving on ice, and then you're putting on the slick tires as well. But
the backside of the racetrack is still totally drivable on the slicks. It just hasn't started raining on that side yet. It's so weird. It's only about 500 feet from the front stretch to the back stretch if you were to walk it.
The delay on the yellow was race control was looking at the order. They were reviewing the order.
Looks like it might be coming back here.
It was kind of chaotic there, right? So it looks like we're set for a restart here.
But I'm curious. I'm still good if I'm Alexander Rossi, because in these conditions, guys, I almost promise you we're heading towards another yellow. And if that rain is going to come, I still think that Alexander Rossi right here is still looking very, very good as Marcus Ericsson comes to take the green.
Watches here. Teammate Scott Dixon will be looking to dive up the inside and get his lap back on that wet front straight here at the Brickyard. Here goes Dixon.
Oh, this is dicey stuff. Look at Colton Herta being very aggressive, 3 wide on the wet.
Add McLaughlin into the mix. He's sitting back watching. Dixon gets his lap back. They're almost 3 wide again with Callum Ilott on the inside of Alexander Rossi, was it?
Hard to believe everybody made it through. Now the track is quite a bit drier on the backside. Again, I just can't believe that there's appears to be sun out just a few corners later.
The track is dry, but the tires get cold when you drive through the rain on that front straight.
And poor Alex Rossi has to drive hard on those rain tires. You see him way in the back on the blue and pink car. He's going to chew up those wets.
But again, if I'm Alex, I'm okay with going a little bit slower, letting cars go past, because I think this yellow, if yellow comes, he's still sitting pretty. You don't want those tires ruined as Romain Grosjean down the inside of Marcus Ericsson makes it stick, but almost contact between Will Power and one of the Meyer-Shank cars.
So Diff, they survived 1 lap. Here they come to the wet section again.
Let's see how we go. The very dicey turn 12 here. It's a real key spot on this road course here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Connor Daly back up in the mix. There's Pato O'Ward in the orange and black Arrow McLaren SP Chevy. Now one more go down the front straight.
Dry line is established down the front straightaway. It's wet offline, but all good.
And this is a tough call for Colton Herta. Going offline, as you said, Towns, it's a little wetter. It's risky to try to make a move, but that's a lap car behind him, or at least the last car on the lead lap in front of him there. Do you want to risk pulling offline to pass Scott Dixon right now when it's not for position?
I think you want to make high percentage decisions right now. If you're Colton Herta, your last pit stop, lap 32. So you're about halfway through the fuel stint right now, sitting pretty.
Look at this fight going on here. Pato O'Ward, Callum Ilott, and then you got Will Power, all looking to go up the inside of Marcus Ericsson.
3 wide.
Ericsson gets shoved out, and he loses 3 spots in 1 corner.
Pato O'Ward picking up some pieces there. A couple of nice moves for the 5 cars. Now Elio Castroneves on the inside of Marcus Ericsson. Started in the lead on this restart, and he is falling back outside the top 10 pretty quick as Connor Daly hounds him now.
Can't imagine how frustrating this is for Alexander Rossi, who must be back there just praying for rain, because it's mostly dry right now on the racetrack. Here's Rossi doing everything he can to take care of those rain tires, but you can only do so much. He's got to go so slow to not destroy him right now.
His last lap was, man, 12 seconds.
Here's Colton Herta,
yeah,
Scott Dixon. This is for Dixon to stay on the lead lap. This pass is not for position. Herta executes the pass. How about Scott McLaughlin sitting in second? He's the 3rd car on the road. Came into this race 3 points behind Alex Palou. He would leave if position stay as is with a 12.8 to make it 18-point championship lead. So the driver of the Snap-on Chevrolet doing good things.
And Jack Harvey, speaking of good things, he's been on the podium here before. He's right behind Scott McLaughlin on the gearbox of the number 3 Snap-on car.
And Harvey's been in the heart of so many dicey moments and has survived, as has the 28 of Roman Grosjean, who's been off the track. He's been elbows out, shoulder to shoulder, contact at times, and Grosjean running 4th with his fellow countryman Pagano running 5th right now. Kevin.
So Alexander Rossi wasn't the only one praying for rain. Graham Rahal had come down and went to wet tires, couldn't hang on. They came in, went back to the slicks, big wing adjustment. Jimmy Johnson right behind Alexander Rossi also was on wets, so he's praying for rain. Johnson had gotten by Rahal, Marty.
Kevin, this is crazy. It's still raining here on pit road, and on the front stretch, you see Colton Herta flash into turn 1 there, so the front stretch is a little bit wet. But to your point, Townsend, the back stretch looks more dry. So far, Rossi going to stay on the rain tires. Very, very wild race today.
Oh, it's crazy, Marty. I can tell you from the pagoda, we are literally sitting on the seam of the weather. It's practically sunny out the back, but I don't think for long. I think that rain is going to move to the east and cover this whole racetrack shortly.
And just looking at timing and scoring, guys, it's kind of fallen. I called it, I probably cursed it. It's fallen apart for Alexander Rossi. He's 42 seconds behind Colton Herta right now. You lose about 37, 38 for a pit stop. So even if Colton did pit right now for rain, if it started raining, I don't think Alexander would cycle all the way to the front.
His rain tires are fried. Those sharp edges are now completely smoked, melted, and fallen apart literally with every corner. Look at the last lap time. Colton Herta with a 12.9, Rossi with a 27.9. That is 15 seconds.
Hey, Alex, I think we got to come for drive.
That's just you can hear the absolute dejection in Brian Barnhart's voice. They know that this gamble hasn't paid off. Marty?
Meanwhile, look at this. Look at this. So Grosjean is working on Harvey. Marty, this battle intensifies. Romain Grosjean wants to keep his record of finishing on the podium in this event intact. He's had back-to-back podiums here.
Yeah, and he's finished back-to-back second places as well. And I think the disappointment with the Rossi team is the fact that they thought it's still raining. So they thought they could make it through with the rain coming on the front stretch, but they're going to give up the ghost, come in and get those slick tires. But I think you're right, Townsend. That rain is still on its way.
I mean, it's just impossible to believe that just part of the racetrack is wet for the last 10 minutes.
Well, the thing is, if it only rains a little bit on that front straight, but you have 25, 26 cars circulating, it's going to help dry up that part of the racetrack. These cars, the floor essentially, as Romain Grosjean looks on Jack Harvey, not quite close enough, but the floor of these cars that generate downforce by sucking the car down, that's essentially sucking the track up, and so the rain, the dirt, anything that's underneath the car gets thrown up into the air, and it sort of evens out.
Here comes Grosjean. He's got 97 seconds to push to pass Jack Harvey in front, just 67 seconds as Rossi bails out and comes for slick.
Who's diving on the inside?
That's Kyle Kirkwood, also on wets, really slow.
He came in earlier as Harvey goes around the outside. This is going to help Simon Pagano. Let's go for a ride aboard the Meyer Shank Honda. If anybody knows what it's like to work his way through from the back here, it's Simon Pagano. Harvey and Grosjean. Around goes Grosjean, and Pagano gets 2 positions in the one move to go into a podium position.
Doesn't matter, man. Get your finger off the button, get back on the track, and focus.
Was he singing or complaining? What did he say there?
I imagine it wasn't a song. It was probably a complaint, but nothing he can do about it now.
I'll tell you what I've seen today is a lot of drivers are demonstrating to Romain Grosjean, hey, you race us hard, we're coming right back and going to show you how it's done. And I think Grosjean has fallen to the bad side of so many guys today. They're just not leaving him any room.
And at the same time, you've got Jack Harvey, who's just hyper motivated to get on the podium here, but big pressure coming from Will Power, the 5-time winner here at Indianapolis, is going to try around the outside.
It's going to give him a good position for the next, and Harvey doesn't give Power anything. And around goes Pato O'Ward.
How about this comeback from the 5-car? Pato O'Ward now up into 5th after that spin on that restart. But I see some rain coming.
Oh boy, this is far from over.
How about Simon Pagano? Started 20th and runs 3rd. What a drive from the Frenchman. 32 laps to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the GMR Grand Prix. What a day it has been with mixed weather, mixed battles. We go back and take you back to the moment with Romain Grosjean heading down the back straight to turn 7. That's Jack Harvey on the inside on the left.
Goes to the outside of Harvey. Now race control says they're going to review that, but Grosjean's the aggressor there. He's the one pushing the issue to the outside.
Yeah, but at the same time, you do see Jack kind of drift over driver's right into Grosjean's side pod before they even turned in. Definitely forced the issue, made himself a little wide, elbows out. Of course, we can't talk about this without talking about last race at Barber. Graham Rahal on the outside, Grosjean on the inside. First contact, and then Townsend. That was, I think, the one that really upset Graham.
Yeah. A lot of drivers jumped to Graham's defense. I would imagine Graham's teammate Jack Harvey might be thinking about that highlight a little bit in that moment side by side. But in that case, both cars continued as Graham Rahal was super upset with the way he was raced. In this situation, one car ended up backwards in the grass diff.
Yeah.
Is that the difference? Does race control look at it any differently?
So where is Grosjean now? He's gone from fighting in the top 5 to being run in 11th. That is Kyle Kirkwood, who's had a pretty animated race,
at least
to say the least.
Time off track today.
He's 2 laps down. He held on to those rain tires even longer than Alexander Rossi did, so a lot of time lost with the 14 there.
We have gearbox damage.
Gearbox damage. That was Kyle Kirkwood on the radio saying.
I don't know if that's from contact or if that's just gearbox damage from something going wrong with the shift. Oh, he got hit by Graham Rahal.
Whoever that was.
Look at the rain into turn 1. Graham just no grip on the rain there.
Now that one, race control almost certainly is going to review on board with Rahal.
So this is down into turn 12 here. Yeah, really nothing Kyle could do, obviously, in that one.
And guys, guess who they were behind? They were behind the Lucas Chevrolet for Arrow McLaren SP. JPM, Juan Pablo Montoya, has come from 23rd to 9th. There he is, the veteran, the legend, the 7-time Formula One Grand Prix winner, 2-time Indy 500 winner and IndyCar champion.
I think we're either this lap or next lap.
This was all about just a warm-up drive.
Montoya saying we need to pit either this lap or the next lap, and that has to do with weather. Rain is almost everywhere now, Dylan. These guys need wets.
They do, and if there's anybody that can feel the race car, know what he needs, it's JPM. But yeah, as Lee said, this is a way big overachieving day for these guys. They just wanted to come in here and get used to the car, get Juan prepped for the 500, get the crew prepped, and here they are running inside the top 10. Anything goes. They may have a shot at the win, Marty.
Dylan, we talked about Rossi making that move to the rain tires when the track was still dry. Look at how much it just cheese grated this right rear, the right front as well. And the disappointment is the fact that, guess what? It's finally raining harder, and the teams are going to pit in about 3 laps, and they're all talking about rain tires. Rossi made the right move, Townsend, but he made it too early.
That's right, just unlucky with the decision there. Everybody's staying out, Marty. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, on the backside, it's still a dry race line.
That's a move. Oh, Jimmy Johnson is around. Caution is out, just as Callum Ilott made the move on Will Power.
And this is a big break for Colton Herta, that he doesn't have to guess when to pit now. Caution's out, pits will be closed. And it allows Colton to pit under yellow, presumably, to take the wets and not have to gamble, not have to risk it. But there will be a race on pit lane when these cars all come to their box.
Is Jimmy Johnson sitting stationary in the Carvana Honda? What happened? Into the back straight.
Yeah, just slick track, guys. Just rain coming down on a slick tire shod car. These are the trickiest conditions you could possibly be in. You're tiptoeing around. You're trying not to make any sudden inputs with your hands, with your feet, on either the throttle or the brake.
This is part of the Jimmy Johnson IndyCar road course education, which is the curbs are super slippery when they're wet. He took a lot of curb all the way through there. If you saw the leaders go through there, they're just putting barely a little bit of tire on that paint. The paint's so much more slippery than the racetrack.
you know, as we stay on board here with Jimmy Johnson, look at the rain kind of sliding off the aero screen there. We talked at the top of the show. This is the first time we've run the aero screen in the wet, but it looks like it's passing with flying colors. No issues.
I just used too much curb and lost it.
There you go.
And he lost it right, I don't know if you noticed or not, he lost it right in front of Colton Herta.
Yeah, that's true.
That was pretty close. I don't know how close, but... So, yeah, another a lucky escape for the man in the Gainbridge Honda.
So think about the pressure of being an IndyCar pit crew person when the race is on the line. Now think about the pressure of the race being on the line. Everybody's going to pit under caution, and it's wet on pit lane. Your gloves are wet. Your tools are wet. The ground is wet. All kinds of challenges. I know these guys practice a lot. Have you ever heard of a team doing pit stop practice in the wet?
No one's getting in the shower and then getting out of the shop and you know, doing their pit stop practice. But this is the other tricky thing here, guys, is we're still on the very, very, very early side to make this thing without stopping again.
But they do get better mileage when it's wet. They're going slower. They burn less fuel, so it should help as Colton Herta comes to pit lane, along with all of his chief competitors.
Have a look.
Oh, no, he's on the front straightaway.
Have a look how close it was, fellas. Let's go back and have a look at how close it was with Jimmy Johnson. So Colton's behind this, and you're going to get that view right now.
Oh, and he slid backwards, so yeah.
Nothing compared to Will Power sliding up into turn 1 at the Indy Open test for Colton.
That's true. That's true.
He's got practice.
It's also the second biggest heart in your throat moment for Colton Herta after that huge save following Pato O'Ward early on.
I'm not the meteorologist here. You guys got to see what's coming up. If it's going to stay like this, go to wet. But if it's going to dry up in like 10 minutes, you might as well just go red.
And that's probably an answer from Colton Herta in response to the team asking him what tire do you want us to put you on. Colton saying, I don't have any idea what the radar shows. You guys have all the information. And there's the answer. Wet tires laid out for Colton.
Look how dry it looks on the back straight now.
It's perfectly dry. And this will be awesome. If everybody goes to wets and it's dry on the backside of the track, I mean, it's anybody's race.
Yeah, if you're on the lead lap right now, you still have a shot at this thing. Now, there are only 13 cars currently on the lead lap. Crazy, out of the 27 run that started this race. We haven't seen a race quite like that in a long time.
Kevin Lee.
So there's a good debate going on. Brian Herta is saying, I think it's too wet. We need to go to rain tires. Colton is still saying, I think this might be slicks. I think I can make it work. It's a last-second call. They wet's out right now, but they're still debating what is the tire choice.
It's because they can't figure out the weather. Neither can I.
And that's what Colton said. I'm not the meteorologist.
Yeah.
I need your help, you guys. But if you're asking me...
But I bet they're having the same debate. Brian's saying it's wet on the front straight. Colton's saying, like I am up here in the pagoda, hey, it's dry on the back. And here they come. We're about to find out what the decision is.
And they just changed again, back to the slicks.
Oh.
So Colton Herta is going to gamble. They've still got a few seconds to make another change, but he's leading the run down to pit lane. And I think we're in the fuel window now. If it dried up and they ran hard, there'd be a lot of saving. They probably could get there. Easing into his pit stall. There's going to be a massive race off pit lane. Colton Herta made the early dive to slicks. That got him to the front, and he's going to try to take it home and hope the rain stops, Marty.
Kevin, this has been chaos. Pato O'Ward said on the radio a moment ago, it's a handful. They had rain tires laid out just like Herta. They went with slicks, so did Scott McLaughlin. There's a race off pit road, Lee.
Pato O'Ward on slicks, McLaughlin on slicks, Colton Herta on slicks. This is going to be crazy.
Look how close this is with McLaughlin as he edges out ahead of Colton Herta.
Pretty sure he beat me out there, but just take a look.
Herta asking, can you double check if he legitimately beat me out?
Really, it's all down to the timing line. The transponder will tell the truth there. There's no sense in trying to drag race. You're all on the pit speed limit. So if McLaughlin was ahead at the line, he'll be ahead on the restart.
Couple good gains there. The 28 crew getting Romain Grosjean 2 spots. Connor Daly up 2 spots as well.
Super important here under yellow on the dry part of the racetrack is get temperature in your slick tires as best you can. But boy, it's got to be tough. It looks pretty wet now in the area that was just dry.
So all these cars were running a lap down. They're going to want to get the wave around here. The pace car should pull over soon now that the lead lap cars have pit. they'll be able to run around, do a complete lap, catch back up. There you go. There's the wave around.
So Scott Dixon is at the head of that queue, then Graham Rahal, then Alex Palou, Alexander Rossi, Devlin DiFrancesco, and then David Malukas. A couple of the rookies there in that group. Then Rinus VeeKay.
I can't believe that car's still running after the damage they suffered earlier.
Christian Lundgaard, Takuma Sato, Joseph Newgarden, and Felix Rosenqvist all get the wave by.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be catching this thing big time in this section of the track.
So guys, the thing to look at is everybody went slicks. Nobody gambled. I was looking out of the window down on the pit lane. I saw 5 cars at least have wets laid out that made a last-second call literally as the cars were rolling down pit lane to switch to slicks. But I'm not sure it's the right call. Kevin, what's Brian Herta saying about it?
Well, it was a wonderful debate. It was a fantastic and interesting debate. So tell me what the deciding factor was staying out here on slicks.
I don't even know. It was such a gut check, and it's raining harder now. I'm not sure we did the right thing, but if we're wrong, we're all wrong together at least. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm glad I'm not out there right now.
Thanks, Brian.
I mean, amen. Toughest conditions right now. We just saw Rinus VeeKay spin under caution. That car stall is going to extend this a bit. But, guys, this gives those lap-down drivers a chance to make that call. It was almost a benefit about being a lap down because now they can come in, see that it's raining more, and maybe roll the dice. If I'm Alexander Rossi, I think he was one of the first ones in that group. Scott Dixon was the first. Yeah, sorry. This could be the swing, the pendulum swing back into.
Let's figure out what happened
Scott
here with
Rossi's
Rinus VeeKay. Trying to warm his tires. That's over in turn 3.
That's where he was around before.
Yeah.
Hey, Hinch, guess who's laid out with rain tires?
Alexander Rossi?
Alexander Rossi.
There you go.
Why not roll the dice again? You did it once earlier.
Understand Graham Rahal might have spun as well under caution. So, guys, it's under yellow, and they're having a hard time just keeping it between the white lines, and it's at 50 miles an hour.
It's not like Graham was trying to light up the tires there. No. He was just gently getting to the throttle. Like I said,
here we go. Here we go.
There it is.
Dixon was the first of those cars not on the lead lap who got the lap back and has gone to his pit box. He's got the wets on. Alexander Rossi, you're looking at it now. Alex Palou in the background, Marty. Here we go.
Right, with the rain tires, and it is picking up here on pit road. And I can tell you, I'm down here with Taylor Kyle right now with Pato O'Ward and his race team. They're debating it as well, and they're sitting in second spot. So I think you may see some of the leaders come down.
They are.
Herta right there. He's coming down pit road to give up the lead or give up second place, Kevin, to put on those rain tires.
And then those that just came in a little bit earlier, where is that going to shake out? So Colton Herta coming in. But as Brian said, hey, everybody, as far as the top 15 or 20 was in the same situation. Colton coming in, going to the wet Firestones. And Will Power also releasing. Let's see who wins this race on pit road.
Colton Herta down and away, but for McLaughlin, O'Ward, Callum Ilott, they're all on Firestone Reds, and they might be totally hung out here.
Yeah.
Almost certainly going to have to come to pit lane.
I think so. Those 4, McLaughlin, O'Ward, Ilott, and Grosjean. I just don't see how you can do it. I don't see how you can restart this race on slicks at this point.
But just think about how quickly the track's been drying. How long is this yellow going to last? We'll find out when we come back, Div.
Oh, boy. This gets better and better. Will this guy, who has led 41 laps of the race today, Colton Herta, take it all the way to the checkered flag? As we welcome you back, a quick reminder that this is race 5 in the People Ready Force for Good Challenge, and it rewards a driver massively who can win on each 3 different circuits, a street, an oval, and a road. Joseph Newgarden's already done 2 of those. Scott McLaughlin won, Pato O'Ward won, and O'Ward and McLaughlin are looking good here at the moment. So, which driver is going to take that $1 million home? We will see as this season unfolds. We spoke more about that for Joseph Newgarden at the top of this race, but that's now beyond his reach today as he had that incident very early in the race and is some 15 laps down on the race leader. As we show you some interesting facts and figures, the numbers with the GMR track facts. So Team Penske has won 8 of the 11 races here with the likes of Will Power and Simon Pagenaud. Will Team Penske prevail again in the hands of Scott McLaughlin, who, along with the man who is sitting right behind him, Pato O'Ward, and Romain Grosjean, are on the slick tyres, not on the wets. Is that going to work?
And that earlier contact with Graham Rahal has resulted in a penalty for avoidable contact, so the 15 will have to go to the back of the field where he sits right now.
And bad to worse for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, because car 45, Jack Harvey, who's having such a strong run, is going to the back of the field for contact in pit lane. So disaster for this organization.
So
when you go to the back.
Word from as Jack Harvey gets that word from race control, and you may have noticed on your screens at home top left, we have now gone from a lapped race to a timed race. Less than 20 minutes to go.
So absolutely no issues for fuel. This will be a crazy, fierce restart. Some on slicks, some on wet tires. Understand one more lap of caution.
It could stop raining there.
Yeah.
This is too bizarre for words.
Marty, what do you have?
Let's chat with Kyle Moyer, who's left his driver, Scott McLaughlin, out there on slick tires. The top 3 on slick tires, the 19 cars behind them on rain tires. So how big was the debate of whether to go to rains or slicks, and why stay on slicks?
Well, it was a huge, I won't say a debate, but a big discussion. So, you know, I think it's going to dry. I don't think it's not going to get wet again for at least till the end of the race. It's a time race now, so we've got it shortened. You know, we just need to hang on until we get a dry line again, and I think we'll be okay. You know, the 3 guys out there with us, so we just got to hang with them.
In all your years of experience, have you ever seen a race as crazy as this?
No, not really. No, not my time.
There you go. He's been on this timing stand a long time, Lee, so that tells you a little bit about this race. And he just told Scott McLaughlin a moment ago before we started that interview, I think the way this is headed, all the guys behind us are going to have to come get slicks. Now, maybe that's driver motivation, but they feel good about their decision.
I'll tell you what, this one extra lap of yellow, huge for McLaughlin and O'Ward, because this track still sits at 76 degrees, which is pretty warm with the wind hitting pretty hard, so this thing could dry up in a big hurry, and that extra lap really helps. Let's listen to some radio on the 3 car.
It's going to be slick for a few laps here, so we got to hang on. Then it's going to dry like it has, and then we should be good with the slicks that we've got to finish the race. Don't overextend.
Some key words there of encouragement, advice, and it's in the hands of the driver. He's had plenty of experience in supercars, the 3-time supercars champion, but this is his first and his longest in mixed conditions in IndyCar, and you know that Pato O'Ward's going to be having a go.
And you got Jimmy Johnson with just no road course rain experience coming into today in an IndyCar. Oh no, McLaughlin's lost it. O'Ward to the lead, under yellow.
After those words of advice and direction, this is what's happened coming back to green. There's Kyle Moyer. He won't believe what he's just seen.
All McLaughlin has to do is hang in there as they're saying no green flag.
McLaughlin's trying to pass his way back up to where he was, but I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
We're going to stay in that position now. Stay in that position. It's okay.
I'm not sure why they're letting him stay in second place. He was down in 5th or 6th at that point. Why would you be allowed to pass half the cars but not all of them? That isn't necessarily track, but this is really playing into their hands, like you said, Townsend. These extra laps of caution. We had a longer caution going because a lot of reordering to do with some of those penalties, so race control is having to figure out the order, and here's a replay just very similar to the Pelot spin earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wet. You got slick tires, and it just takes that slightest over crack of the throttle. Watch this on board with O'Ward. I mean, McLaughlin was basically trying to square up the exit and drive in a straight line and couldn't get the power down. Listen here.
Yeah, once it started to go, that didn't have enough grip to catch it. You know, there's just so little grip. But so yeah, now we see the 3 car falling back a couple more spots. So,
and he doesn't need to worry about that too much. If he can just keep it on the island for a couple laps, I think all the cars that he had to just let by, he's going to go right back by him as soon as a dry line forms.
If a dry line forms, the cars need to be going at speed just to, like we said, suck that water up off the racetrack and really get that dry line better in these wetter sections. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It is helping them in some way with only 15 minutes to go, but I really do think it's a bit of a risk.
So don't take our word for it if you're just tuning in. We've had a little bit of everything today. The man who leads this race, Pato O'Ward, this is what happened to him earlier. Check this out, and it involved his teammate as well. Goes for a move on Colton Herta, spins around, nose-to-nose contact with his teammate, keeps the engine revving, and is able to get going again, and now he finds himself in the lead of this motor race. It's been an extraordinary day here in Indy.
And that was slick tires on a partially wet track. Pato O'Ward's going to try to hang on to this thing for a restart on a much wetter racetrack down in turn 1. Folks, buckle up.
Oh boy, oh boy. And that second car is Jimmy Johnson. That's not going to be a pass for position, right? Because we're right near the end of this race. Let's get going. And what's Colton Herta got in third? The third car, the black and yellow machine. What's this restart going to look like for the leader of the race? Getting squirrely and sideways already.
Barely get the power down as Pato O'Ward coming around 14. Green flag is out. That means you can pass as soon as the green flag is waving. You do not have to wait for the start-finish line, and Colton Herta is not waiting at all. Right on the gearbox of Pato O'Ward on the inside into turn 1.
No way that O'Ward's going to be able to hold off Herta there.
Inside, what, 5 behind him?
Wets versus slicks.
Man, he did a better job than I thought.
Way better job than I thought. That thing was amazing on slicks in the wet.
Incredibly impressive car control for Pato
almost
O'Ward.
Lost it. Got on the paint, O'Ward did.
Behind him, everybody's being pretty well behaved as well. No issues so far. Jimmy Johnson holding up. Simon Pagenaud now will power up the inside. And we got a car around Scott McLaughlin.
McLaughlin off. Dixon off.
Did he keep it running? Caution is out, guys. 13 minutes and counting. Colton Herta still in the lead. Pato O'Ward still holding on to second on those slicks.
I cannot believe how late Pato O'Ward was able to break into turn 1. That was crazy.
McLaughlin shaking his head. Needs a hand. Needs to get refired here. Can't believe it. Was in the lead of the race, spun under caution.
He's still in pretty good shape because he has slick tires on. And again, if this track dies, so many cars are going to have to hit pit lane. McLaughlin's still going to be in the top 5. So
there's not enough time, I don't think, Townsend. By the time we get going, we're looking at 10 minutes to run. I don't think it's going to dry up enough for these wet tires.
I think it's going to be close. I really do.
Look at that! He's on idle. He's barely even touching the throttle. And that, I mean, that's not even a corner. Yeah. That's not even a corner in the dry. That's a flat-out kink.
James, I agree with you. As long as it stays yellow, if it goes green and they can circulate some laps, it will dry.
Get your right, get your right.
How about Alexander Rossi and Tatiana Calderon and Scott Dixon?
All taking a trip through the beach. I mean, what a comeback so far for Pato O'Ward, and these yellows are really helping his cause, because no doubt in my mind right now the rain tire is the one to be on.
Hey, Marty Snyder, if you're listening, is it still raining on pit lane?
It's picking up, Townsend, and Pato O'Ward and his team right now. Taylor Kyle just said, hey, should we just cut our losses right here? And he said, listen, I can try. I can do the best I can, but it is absolutely wet on this racetrack. You see him filling out a little bit there, kind of weaving back and forth. I just don't think it's going to work. They're going to have to give up second here after a terrific day and a crazy day and give up that position to come down pit road and put on the reins.
So less than 12 minutes to go. We're going to squeeze in one last break. We'll go non-stop and take you all the way to the checkered flag on a wild day in Indy.
It's May, it's Indianapolis, and one of the wildest races we've ever seen under caution. Let's go through the field. Brought to you by Axe. Colton Herta has won 6 times, but none would ever be as strange as this one, as we just saw. Pato O'Ward spin there behind him, Diff.
Crazy. It's very McLaughlin-esque. And the other one out there still on slicks is Romain Grosjean.
I lost 2 positions. This is going to be really tough. So we're fucked, right? We can't go into the pits?
We excuse the language there. We're live, of course, with driver-to-pit communication. And Pato O'Ward is just saying this is going to be way too tough. The track is soaked and he is on slick tires. This is what just went down.
Don't be stabbing the throttle.
Mid-corner
like that. Like a mirror?
Yeah.
That's what got out McLaughlin.
That was even a little, probably more aggressive, more egregious, but
Such a roller coaster of a day for that driver there. As so many drivers have had a roller coaster kind of day. Marty, what do you know?
Well, they had just had the debate for like the 5th time on Pato O'Ward's stand with Taylor Kyle, the team president, and he said, I'm just going to try and go for it. They were sitting in 2nd at the time. Had they pitted for rain tires at that moment, they would have come out 20th. He said, I think I can hang on and finish better than 20th. So his decision and the team's decision as well to stay out there, lost 2 spots there. But for entertainment value, Diff, this is going to be fun when we finally go back green to watch O'Ward.
And speaking about going back to green, Marty, 7.5 minutes remain. That is all. This race started, declared as a wet race. It has morphed into a timed race, not a lapped race. How will this finish? There are so many stories there. Simon Pagenaud, from a frustrating 20th position on the grid, sits in 2nd. Will Power keeps his top 4 results alive.
And going to be a handful for Pato O'Ward and Romain Grosjean, running 4th and 9th.
What about one Pablo Montoya? Back in this for a warm-up. There he is there, the next car in shot, the red-black Lucas Chevy for Arrow McLaren SP. I'll come in and do a little warm-up for the Indy 500, and I might just crack a top 5.
What Pato O'Ward's going to attempt here is one of the sketchiest things you can have in a racing career. 6 minutes left. He knows if he pits, he's going to finish, pretty much near the back. Going to try to hang on here. This is absolutely frightening as a driver. Under pressure to perform, but you really shouldn't be out there on these tires at all. As he comes to pit lane, Pato O'Ward bails out.
He agrees with you. He should not be out there at all, but Colton Herta on the wets is coming to take the green flag in a huge jump over Simon Pagenaud.
Back to green for these final 6.25 minutes here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look at the roost. Look at the spray that Pagenaud ducks out of. You can hardly see any of the cars on the front stretch here. Then it's Will Power.
Oh,
look out.
Connor Daly
and
going
Montoya.
really slow, almost got rear-ended by Montoya. Montoya is P5.
And after having to change the whole rear assembly of the car, Marcus Ericsson in that white and red Husky Chocolates car has gone past Montoya. The Swedish driver is on the move, so he's going to come from the back of the field into the top 5, maybe even into the top 4.
Connor Daly back up into 4th place where he qualified. This guy, again, another driver with a roller coaster of a day.
And lower left-hand corner, you saw Grosjean and O'Ward pitted. Smart decision. No way they could have made a lap. Look at this action. Callum Island up the inside of Castro Neves.
Oh, great job getting that wound up. He saw where it was going, but he was able... Oh, no,
Sato into the side of Castro Neves. They continue. Sato's going to go again.
Oh, you know what? Smart move from Castro Neves to pull out of that. That was going to end in contact and probably a spin for one of those 2 guys.
And Sato has been to the front and the back, to the front and the back. The Mission Foods on board, which you can hardly see anything of Felix Rosenqvist. He's on the inside of Eilert, now the inside of Castro Neves. Rosenqvist making some great moves.
Terrific stuff from Rosenqvist. Just flat drove past and gone from Castro Neves, and again the visibility horrendous. Somebody almost lost it out of 14. Rosenqvist sideways.
As you can just see, guys, by far the wettest we've seen. Look at that spray. This is going to be the ultimate test of the aero screen. Oh, Marcus Ericsson late on the brakes. My goodness, side by side again. Juan Montoya.
Sato and Montoya get together. Sato off in the grass. There goes Rosenqvist back by.
Couple of old F1 guys tangling there. Eilert now on the inside of Sato.
And Connor Daly in 4th there. Every lap in turn 1 is really conservative, trying to hang on to the best result of the season. And it surprised a few drivers further back as Sato fires it through the chicane.
I can't tell you how hard it is for Callum Eilert to see when he's sidebar behind
Look out,
but Marcus Ericsson making that move on Connor Daly for P4, the sneaky Swede, guys.
He is loving it, these conditions. He's relishing this opportunity and is just storming through. Now what is he? He's exactly 4 seconds behind Will Power. Maybe, just maybe, Marcus Ericsson might stand on the podium.
Meanwhile, look at Colton Herta, who apparently just went off. He has a 6-second lead on Pagenaud at the last timing stripe, and it looks like he's held on to it, but Herta charging 10/10 and opening up a gap. He lost 3 seconds with that bobble.
No need, man. 3.5 minutes to go. That is all. That's only a handful of laps. There might only be 2 more racing laps as we see here. Turn 12, it's a little bit deep, gets onto the grass. Got away with it, Townsend, but it's just not worth it.
But we've seen this before with Colton Herta. You've got the lead. You appear to have the race in hand,
don't overstep the limit. Let's see how he responds and adjusts. Right on board here. Let's listen.
And guys, the 3 drivers that stayed out on slicks are running 17th, pardon me, way back in the pack. 18th, 19th, 20th for O'Ward, Grosjean and McLaughlin.
The last time we had a wet race here, there was a hard charger coming from behind, and that was Simon Pagenaud. He was a master around here in the wet, but the gap keeps growing, not shrinking, between Pagenaud and Herta.
Almost 2 seconds gained just on that lap since Colton went off in turn 12 there, so he's under control. He's got this one in the bag. He's got the best seat in the house. No cars in front of him, no visibility issues to contend with. Look at all the water just coming off of those Firestone wet tires. This is a soaked racetrack.
But you know what you haven't heard any drivers say on the radio? They have not been complaining about visibility through the aero screen. This is the biggest test in the wet for the aero screen that was implemented a couple of years ago, and the visibility has seemingly been okay. That's Montoya. Montoya is out of the race after such a positive run.
Guys, this is going to bring out a caution and end this race. That is it. Colton Herta.
It's turn 14 for Montoya.
It's turn 12. I don't know if through turn 11 maybe he either got together with someone, caught a snap, went up on the wall, but caution is out, 1.5 minutes to go.
And that is the first look of calm and assuredness out of Brian Herta all day. Brian Herta knows that this is the break they've needed.
But we've seen how tricky these conditions are even under safety car, Johnson. So if no other time, I wouldn't be counting my chickens just yet.
I wonder how it all went wrong for Montoya. Well, he was part of that cluster of cars that was going back and forth, lots of contact, lots of wheel dropping, left rear's torn up, left front is torn up.
I think maybe had an issue through the turn 11, the long sweeping right-hander there, because I think he made contact. Yeah, I think he just lost it through that long sweeping left or right-hander, sorry, and collected the wall. Heavy damage to that car.
What a shame. He was having such a brilliant run to be well and truly inside the top 10. So white flag is being ready to be displayed to Colton Herta, and appropriately so. He has led 48 laps of this race today, the most by a long shot.
Before the race started with the tricky conditions, our friend Marco Andretti, he texted 3 of us and said, first guy to slicks is going to win. First guy to slicks was Colton Herta, got him up to the front, and he held on to it, did everything that he had to do to put himself in this position. But what a drive from Simon Pagenaud, guys.
20th to 2nd, Will Power, pole position to 3rd. Marcus Ericsson had a very eventful day, as we mentioned. For Connor Daly, that's going to be his first top 5 in some 5 years. That is an awesome result for him. For Felix Rosenquist, had a damaged and stalled car down in turn 1. That's a good comeback. So too Sato. Callum Ilott will score a top 10. And then how about Christian Lundgaard for Rahal Letterman-Lanigan getting a top 10?
Terrific result for Ilott and Lundgaard. The rookies, they started next to each other on row 4. They survived potentially the most difficult IndyCar race ever. And then Scott Dixon doing what Scott Dixon does, managing to just somehow eke out a top 10 when it seemed like everything was going against him. Ran out of fuel at one point, horrible qualifying, started at the back. Dixon once again grabbing what he can and getting on down the road.
And even Alexander Rossi, after all of that up and down, thought maybe he was going to cycle to the front, had to pit, went a lap down, involved in that off when one car went around in front of him. Still going to pull off 11th. Not the result he wanted, but could have been a lot worse.
And guys, Mr. Temperament, Mr. Keeping My Emotions in Check, Will Power, will now go 3rd, 4th, 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 3rd to lead this championship for the first time in 2022, heading into the double points paying Indianapolis 500.
It is a renaissance Will Power. He is a reinvented racing driver in this offseason. The temperament difference with Power is spectacular, and he's been content with getting a solid finish, keeping it on the racetrack, running all the laps, and now he finds himself with a 16-point lead.
Great team effort, even though there were high emotions and some doubts.
I think this is my most fun win ever. Let's bring it home, buddy.
Bring it home. The 22-year-old Californian, Colton Herta, wins the GMR Grand Prix to the delight of the Andretti Autosport crew.
Great job from the Gamebridge guys. They really needed this result. We talked about momentum going into May. Great way to do it. A Honda getting into victory lane for the first time this season, breaking the Chevy streak. A lot to be happy for, a lot to be celebrated here for these guys.
Tense moments, big decisions, high risk, and excellent execution. Colton Herta, one of the young faces of IndyCar, is the winner. Cruising home in the wet at a much more comfortable pace, acknowledging the hardy fans who are still here, is Colton Herta. The children's miracle moment of the race when he did this monstrous drift and got the lead after just showing exemplary car control. And that's why that gets our Children's Miracle Network moment of the race. He had to make a couple of decisive moves to get that top spot. But as we said a little earlier, leading some 50 laps en route to what he described, what his dad described as the most fun win of the father-son partnership. There's Dad Brian. And now it's time to celebrate on what was an incredibly trying and testing day for all 27 drivers. Unpredictable conditions, big decisions to be made. And these guys made the best decisions and the execution. A quick reminder, we'll have some post-race show on Peacock when we say farewell at the top of the hour here on NBC, where there is a lot to talk about. What a day.
What a day. A lot to digest. And, you know, this is one of these days, James, where you just kind of throw up your hands on pit lane like, hey, we tried, we placed our bets, and sometimes it works out. It looks like there's laundry detergent down there. Herta's going through champagne bubbles.
And we are far from done here from the Brickyard on a rainy day in Indy.
Even in the rain, a win at Indianapolis means everything. Colton Herta will take it any way he can get it. What a crazy day here, but he's in victory lane here at Indianapolis. How about the fans still here even in the rain, raining hard as it has all day long. So it was your call. We'll give you credit to come in and get those slicks. You were the first one on the slicks. Was that the winning move of the race?
It sure helped us a lot. You know, we gained a lot of positions there. Man, this is awesome. That was the hardest race I think I've ever done. Wet to dry, dry back to wet. And thank you so much for the Hoosiers for sticking around. I know you're used to this kind of weather, so thank you very much. Love you guys.
There you go, the fans at Indianapolis soaking it up. Colton Herta in victory lane for the Indy GP, Lee.
Almost out of time here on NBC. What did you think of that one, T-Bell?
Sensational. I think Colton Herta said it all. From the Pagoda, it looked like the most difficult race I've ever seen. James, how about you?
I mean, such a good comeback drive. You think about how many wins he's come close to in the last 12 months that he hasn't managed to finish off. So great result from him and the Gamebridge guys.
Terrific job. You could see that just the true emotion. He doesn't always show a lot of emotion, young Colton Herta, but that one was exhausting. That one was rewarding. And a reminder that we are not done. We've got plenty more to come over on Peacock when we say farewell. And look at that full team celebration. By the way, Colton's girlfriend just graduated from USC yesterday, so it is a celebratory weekend. There's Michael Andretti, team principal, team owner, on hand to congratulate his man, Colton Herta, on victory here in the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. What a way to get the month of May started for 2022. Next up, all of these guys and more in the NTT IndyCar Series will qualify for the Indy 500. You can catch it all right here on NBC and on Peacock next Sunday, 22nd at 4 p.m. Also on Peacock for all the practices leading up to the qualifying. That starts this Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Coming up next, it's your local news, except on the West Coast. Thanks for joining us. We say congratulations to all the teams and drivers, especially Colton Herta. We'll see you over on Peacock. Have a great night. GMR Grand Prix post-race show here on Peacock. And boy, oh boy, the points fluctuated throughout this race as much as the weather did. Scott McLaughlin at one point in time was looking at a 27-point advantage. It flipped right at the end with that late race spin. And for the first time this year, and for the fourth time in 5 races, There is a new points leader. It's Will Power.
Did it all with a conservative run. Let's head down to Dylan, who has Will.
We are down here, and we've found some solace from the rain finally, and Will was just admiring how close this points battle is. So let's start with your day, though. Obviously started up front. You guys chased that strategy all day, but evaluate the day. I mean, how tough was it out there just to keep the car on the racetrack?
Yeah, it was just so hard to decide whether to go to wets or slicks there when it was raining on one side of the track and it was dry on the other. But you know, we just talked about it on the radio, and we said I think we just got to get slicks. I mean wets, because it was just, you were gonna make a mistake if you stayed on slicks, which you saw even guys under yellow doing. But stoked with the third. You know, really happy to get the Verizon 5G Chevy. You know, on the podium after a mayhem day. I just tried to be smart and sit back and didn't want to take any too big of a risk. And I think I give it to, you know, guys like Colton and Pato who couldn't wheel it in these conditions. They're hard to contend with, you know, these guys. But you know, congrats to Colton to put that race together like that and on all those conditions and get it done. You talked a lot yesterday after your qualifying lap about how you feel like your pace is maybe the best it's ever been, but you have the experience now of a 17-year IndyCar career. How much did you feel like that experience in your toolbox help you this afternoon? Yeah, the experience really helped. I mean, you just knew if you survive a day like this, I mean, you could pick the wrong tire and it can be a terrible day, but in every situation I just tried to be as smart as I could and not take a big risk. And you know, it's usually not fun not racing for a win, but it wasn't the condition to try to do that, especially with the points battle. Yeah, good points day for sure, and Will Power will go to the 500 as the points leader. Kevin?
For the second straight race, Simon Pagenaud picked up double-digit positions from his start, from 20th to 2nd. A little more green flag racing. Could you have gotten by Colton and won this thing in the wet?
Thanks, David. I don't know. I couldn't see. I couldn't drive at the end, so that was unfortunate. The car felt really good in the wet, but I just couldn't see. So I was looking for lights on the sides to find a braking point, but it was treacherous at the end. I mean, obviously, you gotta say congrats to Colton because it was really tough to finish the race. So I mean, amazing job from everybody at Meyer Shank Racing. We made the right calls on the tires, and it was tricky. It was really tricky to decide. But overall, it was a great race. Whether it was dry or wet for us, it was a really good job.
Have you ever been in a more treacherous race that pretty much went the full distance as far as time is concerned?
I have. I ran Le Mans, and I ran Spa also with some rain like that and in the night. So that was a bit different, but at least I could see something. Today I couldn't see anything. So I'm glad we could bring it back second. I wish I could have repeated the story, but it's a really good way to start the month of May for us.
He almost won. He did win in the rain in 19 and almost did it again today. Simon Pagenaud finished his second, Lee.
That was very good. Really good drive, and great to see him so bubbly. Again, reminding you of those standings. 16 points is the difference between Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, his teammate, and the defending series champion Alex below. But again, we highlight how tight it is considering you get 54 points for a maximum points haul on a weekend, and we're going into a double points race.
We're going into double points, which means anything's possible. Like we said at the start of this thing, May is make or break in IndyCar, and for Colton Herta, he's making hay right now, up 5 positions in the championship, just 38 points out of the lead. And Hinch, we were here for the 2-day Indy Open test. There is so much competitive action out on track in terms of the strength of these race cars for the Indy 500. This thing could get totally jumbled up by the time we come out of this track.
Yeah, I mean, double points is going to throw everything for a loop. But guys, again, Scott Dixon with what he would definitely classify as a difficult weekend, not a successful one, and he's still moving up the points table. That team, that driver are just so incredible at putting together these championship runs. Marty Snyder.
Well, Connor Daly went from saying, why am I the only one saving fuel out here, to winding up in the top 5 and getting a 5th place finish. So how'd you turn your day around?
Honestly, I still don't know. Like the first set of reds it felt like we were still on a wet track. Like there was something odd. And as soon as we put on our next set of reds, back to being fast, like second fastest race lap, and like it was just it was a crazy deal, and we gained a lot of time in that strategy by kind of like a forced undercut, and then we ended up where we were because we were fast the rest of the race. So just a roll. I mean, I've never been in a race like that in my life. That was absurd. I mean, it was just the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
What was the most difficult part about it?
Well, really blindness.
That's a good one.
Vision is super important, and you know, obviously this is a new era for us, right? And we haven't had a race with this new car, and you know what? It's a great thing to learn from. Obviously, you know, but I couldn't see a single thing, all the way down the front straight, all the way down the back straight. So, you know what? And honestly, I'd like to say I'm super proud of Grosjean and Pato on the slick tires because they didn't hit me as they were on that one restart. So. Credit to those guys for not spinning and crashing into me as I was inside of them on slicks, but thank you to BitNile. Chevrolet Power is in a perfect spot for the month of May, I think, and I'm excited.
Does this rain ruin the pool party tonight or not?
Absolutely not. I'm already damp, so might as well jump in.
By the way, the phone is blowing up, including our Parker Kligerman, who's already sent him a text, Dylan, so we'll check into that in a minute.
Oh, we'll have to see what PK wants. A good day for Marcus Ericsson, fourth today, all things considered. I don't even know really where to start with your day. You spun out early, obviously, and had damage to the car, which is still damaged, you tell me. Then you stay out on reds, have to go to the back to come in and put wets on. I mean, how did you finish fourth today?
I don't know. No, it was one of those days, you know, crazy race with pretty much anything or everything happening for us. My car was really good in the wet though, and you know I was making some good progress in the beginning. Got spun around and got that damage, and you know had to replace the rear wing and still had damage on the rear of the car. Still now after the race, we were struggling a bit in the dry because of it, but then. We were really off strategy, so they did a good job there, the guys on the pit wall, to sort of put us a bit off strategy. And then when I saw the rain coming for the end, I was really excited because I felt like my car was really good in the rain. So it gave us an opportunity and made some good moves, and P4 is definitely a very good result for us.
You passed a lot of cars. I mean, what were the conditions like out there, especially back in the pack where you were several times today?
It was really hard, you know, with the sealant that they have on the oval here, it makes it really tough with the spray. So especially in the end there on the restart, you couldn't see anything almost on the straights. So that was, it made it really tough. But no, it was good. I made some good moves, some good overtakes in the end. That's, you know, it counts, and that was important for the championship as well. So very happy with that. Very happy to see Honda, you know, winning again finally. I think they've been pushing hard lately, and 3 cars in the top 4 is really good boost for all of us, and Honda going into the 500 as well.
Absolutely, great day for Marcus Ericsson. Kevin, listening to these guys talk, I'm glad we're not in the seat because I don't think we could do it.
It would not go well for me. I give you a better chance than me. Felix Rosenqvist has just been saying, I just need a straightforward, normal day. Well, the result would say start 6, finish 6 is a straightforward day, anything but. How did you go all the way from the back to get back up there?
Man, I don't know. It was just, yeah, every stint was something different. We were on the wrong tires, we were right tires, but we were on the right tire in the final stint. We put on the wets, and I think we had a very good car in the wet today, and I felt, you know, I felt fast in the wet all day, and we managed to go from 18th to 6th in the last like 10 laps. So that was crazy. And the target was to finish same or better than we started, so we got that, but it was just about.
We might see it here in a moment, but I'm wondering what you're thinking after being fast again, and it looked for a moment after contact with your teammate like it was all go away. How are you dealing with that?
Man, it was such an unfortunate situation. So Pato spun. I don't know if he touched with Herta, but he spun right in front of me, and I kind of ran into him, and as a result, I stalled. Like I went on my clutch, but the car didn't go. So you can see it here. I just kind of had nowhere to go there, and boom. Yeah, and from there on, I was like, let's just be positive, and I think everyone did a good job not, you know, going negative. And yeah, it looked dark, but we came back to P6, so we'll take that first top 10 of the year, so hopefully a couple of more of those.
Some momentum for Felix Rosenqvist heading to the Indianapolis 500.
And we need to show you something else as the guys jump up on the podium. And that was right at the line involving Team Rahal Letterman Lanigan's Christian Lundgaard and
Sato.
And no, Eilert. So that would be through a lack of visibility. Look, boom.
Slow down before the line.
Felix Rosenquist going slow. That's a bizarre, but
certainly under full caution.
Yeah. Just shows about the visibility and how much of a struggle it was.
Hey, before we say farewell, want to give credit to, and those two guys were involved in that incident. Callum Ilott, Christian Lundgaard, Tatiana Calderon, all have just achieved their best career IndyCar finish.
Just by surviving, and I think the driver interview summed it up best. Have you ever seen a race where 100% of the participants said, I don't know what happened,
yeah, I don't know
but
how
here
I
am. Everybody just finding themselves where they are by fate, by conditions, by circumstance, and all smiles here on the podium knowing you survived.
Guess who has to do it now? Indy Lights.
There you go.
They're coming up here on Peacock, and it's the resumption of the race that was postponed from earlier today due to the local lightning. So it's going to be probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Charlie Kimball's already here in the booth. Kevin Lee will make his way up, and there it was. That was the save of the day. Got Dario Franchitti's attention, that's for sure. It was nothing else that we can describe but a wild, wild day that just entertained every step of the way. The unpredictable weather, the terrific drives, the bravery, the skill, and the decision-making, all contributing factors to a memorable day for Colton Herta. Hey, we'll see you during the week for practice and qualifying.